The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93
There you go. It's the ice-cold Tuesday edition of the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. Hope nobody's locked out the house or lost in the woods this morning, because that's your ass, I would imagine. That would be about it, wouldn't it, Josh?
It's pretty cold out there, yeah.
That would be about it.
I don't know, is freezing to death is that a pleasant way to go, or is that one of the bad ones?
It didn't look so cute in a movie I watched called The Shining.
Yeah. That was one example that came to mind, too, for me.
Yeah. I would imagine it stings a little bit. But I don't know. Maybe there's some research to be done there.
Because you've probably heard people say, oh, drowning, it's very peaceful. There's no way that's peaceful.
There's no way.
I mean, we've all seen people panic as their lungs are filling up with water.
Right.
That doesn't look like peace overtaking a person.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun.
When I was a, fourth grade kid, I almost drowned. And it was not peaceful, man. I was in absolute panic and full-on terror until I was able to get myself out of that situation. So through that brief experience, I'm going to disagree with drowning being peaceful.
But you've heard that too, right?
Yes, I have.
But who are the people that have said, oh, you know what? Drowning was a pretty good way to die. I enjoyed it. It was peaceful.
I don't know, but they say
ones
it.
that fell out of the boat and made it.
Yeah, they say
They're just
it.
assuming some things.
I don't know who they are.
It says that when you freeze to death, you become unconscious and you hover between life and death. So that doesn't sound fun.
Oh, I know some. I got some old buddies who have been unconscious and hovering between life and death for decades at this point, and they're at room temperature. So I don't know. Hopefully, none of us have to find out. The brutal temperatures are probably the perfect backdrop for the dark, depressing morning that Vikings fans are up against.
Whoa! Oh, really? I missed the game. I was going to ask how your Super Bowl winning prediction for the Vikings was going this morning.
Well, as usual, Josh, I held up my end of the bargain.
You did.
I feel no shame because I gave them the confidence boost that they needed. I gave them something to build on when a few weeks ago I predicted that for the first time since 1977, the Vikings would make an appearance in the Super Bowl, and by damn, I predicted for them to win it. I held up my end of the bargain, and the boys didn't do their part. So I have no shame or embarrassment or anything over that prediction.
Well, I think they let all of us down, but especially you. You put yourself out there
absolutely.
As a fan.
Thank you, John.
Well, I'm sorry I called you. I know you're not a fan. You put yourself out there.
I'm a spectator.
Yeah.
You're right, I did.
And they literally dropped the ball for you yesterday.
Just awful.
I mean, quicker than you can say Jack Robinson. The Vikings' 14-win season is done. And I have to admit that I find this ending to be particularly interesting compared to the others. I do. Simply because in the last 2 weeks of the season, the Vikings performed the way everybody assumed they would before the season started. Mm-hmm. They obviously proved a lot of people wrong in the first 16 games of the season, and then when it mattered most, they became the team that all the experts predicted. I think that's it's almost like when a movie comes full circle. Yeah. You know what I mean? When a movie plot comes full circle. The experts said you can't win games with Sam Darnold at quarterback. They were wrong for 16 weeks. They were spot on for the final 2.
Yeah, that was a kick in the nuts.
He He looked like he wasn't prepared at all to play the last couple of games. Like maybe he forgot that they had a couple more to go. I'm not sure. The looks on his face, have you seen some of the memes around there?
Yeah.
He kind of looks like
confused.
Yeah, it's like rush hour. Which one of y'all kicked me?
Yeah, he throws an interception. He kind of looks at the camera like, what happened there?
Oh, and were the offensive line, were they mad at him yesterday? Why?
Just letting everyone go through.
And you're damn right about the facial expressions. I never noticed how expressive he is. And I think last night during the ball game, they had a still shot of Sam Darnold from the Detroit game, and they had a still shot of Matthew Stafford from whoever they played in the final week of the season. And Stafford had a look on his face as if he was saying, let's play some football, right? And Sam Darnold had a look on his face as if he was saying, ah!
Yeah, and there's a couple times he just looked like he wasn't a part of the team, where he's looking around going, hey, the Vikings, the quarterback's got to get rid of the ball. Why is he holding on to it so long? Oh, crap, that's me.
I mean,
I forgot I could throw it away.
You gotta go ahead and, well, I'll get there. I mean, something else I find interesting is because I'm not here to put all the blame on Sam Darnold. I'm not. What were the Lions, and in last night's case, the Rams, doing that was so different on defense that completely derailed what was a pretty good offense all season long? The last 2 weeks, those two defenses were just up Darnold's ass all the time, and the Vikings had no answer for it. In the prior 16 games of the season, as far as I remember, the Vikings offensive line protected him fairly well. The last 2 weeks, there was little resistance from the Vikings line. Why? That's on the coaches to figure that out, and they did not.
Yeah, what was the stat? They had like 15 drives that they didn't have a touchdown or something.
Last night?
Yeah. It was like, oh, boy.
It was up there. I can't remember exactly, but I remember the announcers mentioning it.
In the last 2 weeks, you can't cover J-Rod Jefferson. What's his name again?
Justin?
For 16 weeks, you can't cover Justin Jefferson one-on-one. No way. You better play his zone defense. He's too good. The last 2 weeks, they covered him man-to-man. They had no problem with him. So I put that on the coaches. They didn't figure it out. Everybody loves to swing from that Kelvin O'Conrad's jock. He looked friggin' clueless last night, too. His facial expressions led me to believe that he was so out of his league, it was disgusting.
I love it when people are like, yeah, well, they were double-teaming Justin Jefferson. And it's like, well, then someone else should be open.
My favorite moment from last night's game, though, and I'm sure you guys saw this, too. I laughed out loud. 6-some minutes left. And I'm putting this on the O'Conrad guy, too, because he looked as lost as Darnold did last night. 6 minutes left. The Rams are up 27-9. The Vikes are running the football, slowly coming up to the line to run a play. Yeah, well, this is a lightning right on 3. Okay, boys, everybody ready? Are you okay over there on the tight end position? 6 minutes left. They're down 18 points. And Joe Buck says this: I'm going to assume the Vikings know that they're down 18 points, but they're certainly not acting like it. That was friggin' hilarious because
kind of looked like they just resolved, we're not going to win this game. Let's just not get injured. I don't know what was going on.
There's still 6.5 minutes left.
I'm so glad I stopped watching. I went to bed at halftime, and I'm so glad I did.
They were embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm not here to put it all on Darnold. Really, honestly. I mean, I don't need to repeat myself. I said it already. What the hell was so different that the Lions and the Rams were doing that suddenly... I mean, they sacked the man 9 times last night, which ties a playoff record.
That's a lot of bruises this morning.
Oh, and they whooped his ass, too. I mean, they weren't just hugging him until he took a knee. They were knocking his ass. What a hell. I find this one really interesting.
It's really painful on Twitter the next day after a Vikings game, especially when they lose, obviously, or only when they lose. Because usually during the Vikings game, the way algorithms work, Nick, is that if I'm watching a bunch of Vikings videos and seeing a bunch of Vikings tweets, I just get more and more of them. My timeline just fills up with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so this morning, all morning, I've just been clicking not interested, not interested, not interested, so that I can cleanse my timeline so I don't have to see any more Viking stuff anymore.
These are modern problems, Josh. Modern problems.
Like, it just hurts. Every single tweet. Vikings.
You could also just not look at social media for a day.
Yeah, I suppose that is an option.
The look on your face was like, holy crap.
Wait a minute.
No, because every time, even if I went on in like 2 days, it would still be, because that was the last thing I looked at, it would still be there.
Josh said maybe you could just not look at social media, and Ashley made a very Sam Darnold type face.
Whoa, you can?
Where she was completely lost. So this one I'll remember because this was kind of unique.
Well, and also, the home field advantage is gone for the Rams, right?
Yep.
And just freak, that happens. And then they said it was more Vikings fans than Rams fans in Arizona yesterday.
It was like 70% Vikings fans.
Was it that high? I thought it was closer to 50-50, just a little more on one side. So you're saying 70-some%, huh?
That's what I saw.
I don't think I don't think it was 70% Vikings fans.
I thought at the beginning they said like 51% Vikings, 50% Rams.
Yeah, it looked pretty split.
Yeah.
I loved it when people were like, well, it looks like L.A. came to play in Arizona, and then just nothing about the Vikings. We didn't come to play.
Well, they didn't.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Like, the Vikings, they just did not put up a fight yesterday
they really
in the
didn't.
game. Like, we were not there.
Because of the fact that I fell asleep at halftime, though, throughout the night, I would have, like, these little moments in my dreams where... the Vikings even lost in my dreams. It would pop up for some reason, and it would be the score, and it was always like 6-37 or something. And so when I woke up this morning, I just knew. I don't even want to look at my phone.
I don't want to listen to my dreams. I don't want to look at my phone.
It's so depressing.
Josh, in my dreams, it's still the same.
Oh, nice. Nice reference.
Thank you. Your love is strong, and it still remains. Instead of focusing on how terrible the Vikings have been the last 2 weeks, let's focus on how great we are. All of us. We're all great at something. The number is 651. I'll get there. Trust me, I will. I got it. 651-989-9393. That's our text number. Text us. What are you unreasonably good at? Let's not focus on the bad. Let's focus on the good. Every swinging D, or V, I guess, is great at something. Text us 651-989-9393 and tell us, what are you unreasonably good at? Could be anything. I thought that might be fun to sift through some text messages when we get a chance. I mean, you guys have known me for a good stretch of time at this point, especially Cubby. What am I unreasonably good at? Nothing useful.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't have to be useful. That's where the fun hopefully will kick in here. It doesn't have to be useful.
I have a friend who was great at bar games. Any bar game, and it was always so cool to watch.
Yeah.
It didn't matter from trivia to darts, whatever was going on in a bar, he was great, except for picking up women. That was his weak
Jesus,
spot.
are you talking about Big Al? Because my old friend Big Al, now he doesn't really play bar games with us anymore. He doesn't throw darts or play pocket billiards or anything like that with us anymore. But he was always a terrific bar game guy. Yeah, I thought for a second there you were talking about Big Al because he can't haul home any ass either. But he awesome at anything you want him to do at a bar. He's the man, or at least there was a stretch of time where he was. For me personally, you guys know it's stuff like 80s rock knowledge, jersey numbers from old North Star, Vikings, Twins, Timberwolves, weirdo stuff like that. So,
Covered in Metal Jesus said he's unreasonably good at baking. And he claims he can make panties drop one cupcake at a time.
That'd be a good skill to have for a guy.
I want to test that out.
I love it. That's exactly what we're going for. That's hilarious. Just text us. We'll have time throughout the day.
I can't think
What
of
are
a
you
single thing.
unreasonably good at? Unreasonably good is a hell of a statement.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's why I can't think of absolutely anything for myself.
The original Last Man Jesus said he's great at pissing off the wife. Sure.
Pissing off the wife. Yeah, I can do the jersey numbers thing quite well, but you have to contain it to an era, 70s, 80s. Same thing with music, 70s, 80s. I think if there was one thing where it's unreasonable, it would probably be Kiss songs. So that's it. I can't just name, 7, 8 different things. If we're talking unreasonably good, I have to pick. I think I'll go ahead and pick one thing, and it would be naming Kiss songs within 1 or 2 notes. And I did this on the air years ago, so that's my final answer. That's the only thing I can really truthfully say that I'm unreasonably good at.
And the one you lost, you gave to the other person.
I did.
Not to, be a douchebag or anything, but that's true.
Kiss songs released in the 70s and 80s, 1 note usually. I can name the damn thing.
Insurance Jesus said he's unreasonably good at rock, paper, scissors.
I always heard that there was a secret way to be good at that, but I've never really looked into it.
I heard the secret was you start with paper every time.
Unreasonably good at rock, paper, scissors. I know that game has had a resurgence here in the last 10 years or so, but I haven't played it. What happened?
No, I'm laughing at a text. And then everyone jumped in on that.
You didn't know that, Ashley?
No.
Oh, yeah. That no one played rock, paper, scissors for a good 30 years, and all of a suddenly, in the last, Josh, would you say 7, 8 years, it's become trendy again to...
That's how I make all my big decisions.
Of course.
Leaving awkward voicemails, this person says.
Oh, sure.
I'd like to hear some of
too
those.
many exclamation points in emails.
I guess I thought of 2, but they're really dumb. Most
of these are going to be.
Claw machines.
You are very good at claw machines.
And finding agates. I'm really good at finding agates.
Agates.
Yeah.
Well, those are rocks, right?
Yes, sir.
Here were some of the answers from the internet, although I am far more interested in what the brother and sisterhood has to say. Again, we're answering the question, what are you unreasonably good at? And you can text us your answer at 651-989-9393. Here are some other answers. Reading upside down or backwards. Whoa. Wow. I
think I'd get sick.
Yeah.
Where did that skill set?
Exactly.
Where did that come from? Where did that start?
There are a lot of little meme type things online where they will test that to see can you read this backwards? How fast does it take you to do this? That kind of stuff.
Did you say these are memes?
Yeah, like viral posts.
Well, you really do have to shut off Twitter at one point or another.
That's on Facebook, actually. That's definitely an old...
different, Nick.
Yeah, that's an old people thing.
I am so embarrassed. Reading upside down or backwards, that... I want to know where that came from. Well, I mean, maybe you're spot on, correct, that's where it came from, Ashley. I mean, always knowing what time it is without looking at a watch or a clock. Do you really always know what time it is? Now, you have to be careful when you play this game, Josh, don't you? Because a number of years ago, Josh and I knew a gal who decided to declare something that she was unreasonably good at. She said, I can, and if I live to be 1,000, I'll never be able to figure out why she made this statement and then stood by it and then put herself in line to be wildly embarrassed. She said, I can tell where someone is from
oh, yeah.
by looking at their clothing. And we said, huh? And she said, oh, no, it's foolproof. I can tell where someone is from by looking at their clothing. We said, okay, here's a series of pictures. Where's this guy from? Ireland. No, South Dakota. Where's this lady from? Oh, that's easy. Canada. No, Zimbabwe. It was just horrible.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
We don't know why.
I don't think she got one correct.
No,
I don't
she did
think
not.
so.
And it was weird how just confident she was. Yeah, show me a picture. I can tell you exactly where they're from.
It was one of the weirdest 5 minutes of my life. Why did you say
so
that?
So weird.
Oh, here's something. Smashley. You're going to be jealous of this skill set. An individual says, I am I am unreasonably good at scratching a dog in a way where it does the leg thing.
My wife she's great at that.
You find their spot.
Find that G-spot on a dog that makes him do that phantom scratch.
There's not a dog that she can't get going.
It's
She'll
usually
get any
like
dog
one
going.
of three places, right? Like either behind their ears, their butt, or their belly.
Now, are you trying to disregard this unreasonably good skill here by just saying it's a matter of luck?
Yeah, I think so.
You cold-blooded bastard.
Remembering. What if they're lucky every single time, though? Is that still luck?
Like they choose one of those three every time?
Well, no, if they get it going every single time.
I guess, I don't know. I don't really see that being that difficult.
Okay, see? She's mad at it's last night's ball game talking. It's last night's ball game
it's
talking.
Social media.
Social media's gotten to her. Her
dreams are bothering
You're
her.
not willing to give anyone credit for an unreasonably good skill. I'm gonna bash your theory to pieces. You say, it's usually 1 out of 3 spots. I knew it. There was a dog in my neighborhood growing up who would do the leg kick thing anytime I would violently poke him in the eye.
What?
Why would you do that?
One time he blocked it like the Three Stooges. He put his paw up. He blocked it.
I think one of my dogs is the best I've ever seen with his paws. He can do almost anything. He can block anything. It gets annoying because if you're not paying attention to him, he's going to paw you right in the face.
He rejects things like Akeem Olajuwon?
Yeah, and if you're like holding your phone or something and he wants you to pet him, he'll knock it right out of your hands. Say, pet me, jerkwad.
Remembering obscure movie quotes.
I love people that can do that.
One of my
most
buddies
guys I
is
know.
so annoying.
I have a friend, my buddy Joe Buttlicker. He is the best at it. And he'll pull movies like...
Is that an Irish name or something?
Buttlicker? I don't know where
Sounds
he's from.
German,
We'd have to ask
actually.
a former friend to look at a picture of him and tell me where he's from.
Right. He can do what now?
He movie and song quotes. And sometimes like the most bizarre choices ever.
Yeah.
And I'll have to Google half these things. But yeah, he can do that. Or also pull like... a bass player from some 80s rock band that had 2 hits. Like, he can...
That's fun. See, that sounds like fun to me. I would like to meet and converse with Joe Buttlicker.
You know Joe Buttlicker.
Over these topics. I'd like to talk obscure 80s bass players and movie quotes. That's fun for me. Song lyrics. Oh, yeah. I know Joe Buttlicker?
Yeah.
Has he been in my home?
He has.
Okay,
yes.
then I know who you're talking about.
And I have respect, Josh, for, like you said, somebody who can pull obscure ones, not just do an Ace Ventura or Austin Powers impression.
Oh, yeah, he can do those easy.
Yeah, but, that can actually kind of get a little bit deeper than that, a little more deeper than surface level.
And he's a bit of a Renaissance man, too. He sent some hip-hop lyric to me the other day, some group I'd never heard of before. He knows all those things.
How did he earn the nickname?
Joe Buttlicker?
Yeah.
Because
I
his
bet I
last
could guess.
name has similar syllables, so I said butt effer originally when I put him in
My God.
in my phone, but I couldn't get the digital assistant lady to say that. So now she'll say Buttlicker.
Well, we're receiving a lot of texts here, and we will get to it. We'll get to it. 651-989-9393. Just text in. Could be any damn thing.
There's some really
Tell
good
us,
ones.
what are you unreasonably good at? I do love a good movie quote. I do, now and again. That, like I said, that can be fun. Old song lyrics, movie quotes. However, I do know a couple guys who, on a bad night, at least I consider it a bad night, they only communicate to each other through movie quotes, and there's only a few minutes of that I can stand before I have to snap at them.
See, I love that.
Come on,
I
no,
can't
you
get
don't.
Enough.
Ashley, I want you to understand exactly what I mean. I'm talking for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. The only communication back and forth is movie quotes.
Yep, I have a buddy the exact same way.
You really think that it's... I'm telling you, after 5 minutes, even less than that, I can't do it anymore.
That former coworker we were talking about, she could communicate in emojis. She was pretty good at that, where she'd have a whole conversation simply using emojis.
I hate that.
I still haven't had one of those.
I had to Google those too sometimes. Like, wait, what does that one mean? I'm not sure that face. This person says, I can give you the lines said and exactly what happened in an episode of Friends just by a picture of a scene or a quote from the show.
Dang. You should go on that new game show that's coming out then.
Oh, I watched that.
What is that?
It's basically Friends trivia. Mm-hmm. And so, like, all these diehard Friends fans go on, and they, like, are in the setting of the TV show, which is pretty cool.
Wait, like the one of the apartments or that coffee shop?
Coffee shop, the apartments, the taxi cab.
There's quite a few people texting and saying the same thing. Friends trivia, they dominate.
Wow, I never saw it. But that's a great skill. When I was a kid, now I bet I would struggle because I'm so out of the loop and haven't watched this television show in a long, long time. But when I was a kid, and the aforementioned Big Al also had this skill set, if I remember correctly, when we were kids. We could tell you what episode of the Brady Bunch we were watching within about 10 seconds. Boop, boop, boo, doot, 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 doot. They'd start the music, and a character just had to walk on set, and we could tell you what episode you were about to be shown. It's all fun and impressive. I like the quirky stuff, don't you, Josh?
Me too. My wife has a lot of those weird talents. Mm-hmm. Double D, she just said she can rap the whole 3-hour Hamilton Broadway soundtrack.
Oh, I'll pass.
You're such a dork.
Even Guns and Ships, which is 6.3 words per second. How do you do 6.3 words in a second? Unless you're Eminem or the Micro Machines guy.
What's the name of the show?
Hamilton.
Check that out sometime. She can just rap it from start to finish.
That's what she's saying. 3 hours worth.
Lick me down. Hey, later on this morning, we got a couple of friends swinging by. See Willi, Myles, Jungle Jane. They'll be riding in together, if you know what I mean.
They're environmentalists?
No, it's not a carpooling thing.
Oh, it's something like that? Oh.
Coming into the radio station.
No.
In the same car. That's the way I picture it. Because I think they'd make a hot couple.
You know, they should be a couple.
I agree.
But I think see Willi is happily married.
Well.
And then Janel is a mystery. We never know what's going on there.
I would love if we found out in like a couple of years that she's been married for the last decade or so.
Would it surprise you?
That would be incredible.
It's a wonderful day. Sorry, Vikings fans, that they took such a massive deuce on your television last night. But that's just the way it goes, and we got to move on. We'll take a break. We'll be back in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Hey there, I'm Paula Pan, host of the Afford Anything podcast. I help people make the smartest money decisions possible.
How should that money get invested? Why value? Why not growth? We're going to answer all of these questions.
All of them?
All of them!
From investing strategies
and the thing about tariffs
to economic trends and beyond.
In one episode.
In one episode. Can you believe it?
I got to ask for a raise.
What's 5% of zero?
Oh, crap.
Afford Anything. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Believe me, Cubby, I hate to start yous off like this. I honestly do. Because we're all probably better off not knowing things like this. We're all probably better off not knowing. But when it comes down to it, hey, I'm a shock jock. We are shock jocks, and this is what shock jocks do. That's a reference to a subject we covered yesterday. None of us particularly enjoy that label. It's not 1989. There's no such thing as a shock jock anymore. But back to the task at hand. Just a terrible, life-altering type of a thing here. On the day after Christmas, in a state for that I will never mention aloud, a 53-year-old derelict lunatic got himself arrested for sexual contact with an animal.
What kind?
I don't have that information.
Why do you want to know, Dana?
Were you thinking, like, some lady who's an animal in the sack or an actual animal? What's your thing? I guess I'm not sure.
I think we'll find out.
He did. He got himself arrested for sexual contact with an animal. I do have all the information. If I didn't, I don't think I would have given you such a stern warning beforehand. I have too much information. TMI. He allegedly tried to put his penis into a horse's nostril.
That's not where it belongs.
This guy's mugshot is up on 93x.com, and I would just like to say that when trying to find his mugshot on Twitter to post it to the website, there are multiple of these like same exact stories, and that's alarming.
Well, the nose thing was new to me. We've heard a lot of horse humping stories, certainly, but the nose.
Yeah, that's what I looked up was, man trying to have sexual contact with a horse, and there was a lot.
Unfortunately, there are.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
We read a lot of those stories. We hear a lot of those stories. But where this guy became unique was the nostril approach. That's the word going around. That a man tried to put his penis into a horse's nostril. Doesn't that just make you want to give up and stop trying to make the world a better place, Josh?
That they're out there with us. They're walking around. Yeah.
Well, I imagine you have to get a chair or a stool or something, to kind of get up there.
Oh, I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, Wapple's going through the logistics of it all.
Like he had to think, all right, he's like, I got to go get a stool, and then I could do this.
Maybe he's on some sort of dock ramp, he has the horse walk over there. There's really a lot of things he could. Maybe he's exceptionally tall.
Ooh. Yes, he may have.
Gifted.
Yes, Wapple, he may have had to fetch a chair. Yes.
I know what you're thinking. Just cut the horse head off and then go for it.
And then go for it.
Yeah, you can just hold it in your hands and
be a lot easier.
Sorry, I'm a shock jock.
The cops got a telephone call. Whoever was on the other end of the line said, there's a man outside. There's a man down there. Might be your man. Baby, I just don't know. What band? The Allman Brothers. What song? One Way Out. What year? 1972. Sorry. So someone called the police and said there's a man outside masturbating by my horses. That's what they told the cops. The caller said the dude is pulling on his gear and he's paying specific attention to a horse by the name of Raven. Then the caller said that this public dong puller was, quote, tapping his rod against the horse's nose, and that he attempted to insert said rod into the nostril of the horse. When the cops rolled up, the caller showed him a video that they recorded with their cellular telephone, and it played out exactly as the caller had described. Dude trying to lay pipe in a horse's nose, for the love of Christ.
He said, well, I had just some sexual frustration. Donald Calloway, who's 53 from Lake Wells, admitted that because he was trying to do the wow thing with the horse. She said, nah. Hey! That's right. He tried to engage in inappropriate conduct with a horse, which is clearly against the law. Does Donald not know that a horse will bite you?
A lot of texts are coming in saying, that's awful close to the mouth. And have you ever seen a horse go after a carrot? Ooh. Yeah, that could be dangerous.
Yeah, Eric Cartman once taught a horse how to bite off a wiener.
I don't remember that episode.
Does that guy really have to neigh?
Yeah, he wins a lot. His win record is better than his loss record, but Sheriff Grady Judd there, he lost on that.
Yeah, he took it out there.
Yeah, I've had about enough of that guy. So you heard a little bit of the explanation there from Brady Judd's. Here we go. What I have for you right here is a direct quote from the guy who was trying to nose rape a horse after the cops drew down on him and commanded him to drop the dong and step away from the horse's olfactory system. The guy admitted that what he was doing was, quote, dumb. And he told the police, like you heard there in the audio, look, I haven't had any sex in probably 2 months, and maybe this was just a case of a sexually frustrated moment. I think he took it a step further than that.
Everyone's probably been sexually frustrated at one point in their lives and never once wanted to go equestrian. Never once.
No. So they gave this guy a beating, and then they arrested him on 1 count of sexual contact with animals. He's in jail as we speak. No one willing to bail him out, I would imagine.
Good. I hope he never gets out.
Yeah, he probably doesn't have a lot of friends.
I smell penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
a tough
that was a while ago.
That's a tough phone call to make to a friend.
Yeah, you got to have somebody who really loves you.
Yeah, you'll never guess what happened to me, but I need some help.
Yeah, you'd want to just beg the cops to rob a bank on the way to prison.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's an easier call to make to a friend than to your wife.
Ooh, very true.
That's just terrible.
What if your wife just, again?
Mm-hmm. Oh, if it's...
She's been turning down nose sex for years.
Yeah. I hope if he has a woman in his life, she's smarter than that.
Wouldn't we all love a smaller waistline? The line forms behind me. Am I right, Josh? Huh? Wouldn't we all love a smaller waistline? Oh, you could exercise and diet. But who has time for that?
I was reading an article yesterday. There's more and more guys getting ab surgery, trying to carve some abs under the helpful guise of a surgeon.
Why don't they just spray paint them like people have been doing?
Yeah, like Gerard Butler in 300.
He spray painted those?
I don't know. It kind of looked like it.
Oh, you can't make some sort of accusation like that without any real proof.
Yeah, all right, I'll go find him.
Unless it's on the internet, then it's cool.
I'll go find him. I'll ask him.
I think it's obvious why guys don't want to spray paint their abs onto their body, because you get a gal to come home with you, she's going to laugh her ass off and throw you out of the bedroom. That's why.
I just forgot about this, but remember when Chris Jericho and AEW spray painted abs on?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I saw pictures. It didn't look good at all.
No.
Yeah.
Was he doing it to be funny, or is he trying to actually look cool?
No, he did it because he was playing the heel.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a good bit.
That is.
So we'd all love a slimmer waistline. Check this here deal out. A lady from Kansas City, probably a Chiefs fan, so I hope she has a terrible day. She spent $17,000 to have her ribs torn out of her torso so she can get that petite waistline that we all dream of. She did. She spent $17,000. And now that 6 ribs have been pulled out of her carcass, 3 on each side of her body, don't you know? She's going to do what would come naturally to any of us. She's going to take her ribs and have someone make them into a crown.
I got them removed for cosmetic purposes. These are my rib bones. They let me keep them. I was going to give them to my best friends, but I feel like they'd be happier with Mama. Plan on having someone make a crown and incorporate my bone pieces in there and shave them down. So if you know anybody who knows someone who can make this a reality, let me know.
There she is.
I hate her.
I don't know anybody. can do that for you.
If you want now, by God, you can see the 6 ribs that were pulled out of her. You can see a picture of the ribs setting in a Ziploc bag. The surgeons gave them to her as a souvenir. They're larger looking than I thought they would be. And there's still a little meat on the bone, too. That's part of what I found really interesting. There's still a little bit of meat. Did you have those pictures up on 93x.com?
No, but I'll put them up there right now.
Yeah. It's like a nice spare rib.
Emily James is this silly gal's name. Again, $17,000 is what she handed over in trade for the operation to have 6 ribs kicked out of her chest cavity. Emily said, I don't know, I can't remember now if that was in the audio you played, Josh. She said, they let me keep the ribs, and I was initially going to gift them to my best friend, but now I plan on having someone make a crown out of them.
Yeah, well,
Sounds
how
like
would you guys react if somebody, your best friend, goes, hey, I got you a little something for your birthday. Those are my ribs.
I would assume we're not as good of friends as I had thought before that offering.
That would really strike me as strange.
Our relationship would change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably try to get them some sort of help that they clearly really need.
This sounds like a hell of a deal to recover from such a procedure, but she said her pain level was only at a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10.
No way.
Kind of surprised they'd even do something like that. I mean, I guess there's plenty of cosmetic surgeries, but just removing some ribs.
I mean, isn't it the same thing that Paul from the Wonder Years did so he could give himself oral?
Yep.
Yeah, did you see that, Josh?
What happened? Why are you way over there? Did something fly?
I was readjusting my papers and I knocked my microphone condom
Oh, I hate that.
smooth off the end of my microphone.
I want to know. I'm trying to find a picture of what she looked like before. Like, how bad was her waist?
I couldn't necessarily tell a difference.
It was probably just fine. Yeah. Despite some people's suggestions, she won't be eating her ribs. Folks online told her, well, why don't you eat them up? And she said no. She's not listening to the haters. People all over social media telling her what a jackass she is. She said, some of your moms walk around with Brazilian butt lifts. How is this any different? It's my money and my body, and I'm going to do what I want. I do drugs, I have sex, I kill people, whatever.
I do what I want.
It's her money and her body, Ashley.
Oh, that's like a next level of body dysmorphia. This girl needs some help.
Yeah, a lot of guys texting in saying that the thinner waist is the last thing they'd think of if they had ribs removed. Yeah, it's all the Marilyn Manson deal.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would make a difference. Dana, try it.
Okay.
And then give me your ribs when you're done.
Yeah, I'm going to gift you my ribs.
I would like to know how her flexibility changes.
Well, send her a tweet. She's willing to talk about it.
How do you recover from something? That's just so crazy to me that they can just go in there and remove your bones and you're all good and you're Gucci. You can just go home, live your life.
I wouldn't say she's all good.
I'm with Dana on that one.
I imagine if you took, I don't know, like a ball to the stomach or something, or your chest, like it's not going to protect you. You have no protection anymore.
Your organs aren't as protected as they were. I don't know. I have no idea.
Crazy.
How that all works or where she goes from here. She said that the pain afterwards was only a 2 out of a 10, but she didn't mention what I have to believe is a bucket full of painkillers that they were giving her because, yeah, of course, you have bones removed from your body. You're going to feel that.
And it's such a crazy story that the part that she wants to make a crown out of it is almost an afterthought.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other time, that's an insane story right there.
Yeah. We're not even talking about that, are we?
No.
I've forgotten all about it. I don't care what you do with the bones. That's not the story. All right, we're going all the way back to Christmas Eve here now. You never know when folks might turn on you. Even folks you think you know. A 29-year-old gal beat the ever-loving hell out of an 83-year-old woman. Sounds like a bit of a mismatch there, 9 times out of 10. 29-year-old gal beat the ever-loving piss out of an 83-year-old woman. The younger gal was a trusted housekeeper for the Jurassic lady. The younger gal tuned the old lady up because the younger gal didn't get a Christmas bonus from great-grandma. Ain't that a hell of a deal? And now the young gal's in real trouble. Heather Nelson is the name she goes by. Hell, she's on the hook for robbery, aggravated battery, forgery, fraud, and grand theft on Christmas Eve. Heather Nelson dumped a full-on double karate attack on the old lady when she found out. Oh, my word! And she found out she wasn't getting a Christmas bonus.
How expected is the Christmas bonus nowadays? I know we've mentioned before, we never expect it.
Don't know.
Nor do we really get it anymore.
I really don't know.
And we never had like a cash Christmas bonus around here. It was always, like a 93X item of some sort.
Yeah, generally speaking, I don't know how common it is.
The only thing I know about Christmas bonuses is the movie Christmas Vacation. I don't really know anybody that's ever actually gotten one.
But you don't?
Or maybe they just don't talk about it. But
yeah, everybody in my life gets one.
Yeah, I've known a lot of people.
We've told you about what we've gotten for Christmas bonuses.
Yeah,
so now you know 3 people.
It's always been 93X branded stuff here, never like an envelope full of cash like you see in the movies.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of my friends, they get bonuses, cash bonuses and stuff.
Is it common enough for them, or if they didn't get it, they'd be pretty upset? Or do they just look at it like, oh, it's kind of a nice treat?
I guess yes to the first question, because it's kind of like, they put it into their salary. You know what I mean? So they're kind of expecting it that month.
So after the 29-year-old gal pounds an 83-year-old lady half to death, she snatched the old gal's checkbook and wrote out the check herself. Then she took some Christmas cards that had money in them. She took some debit and credit cards. It was a total meltdown. Nelson, the young gal, was the elderly woman's house cleaner, a trusted employee. What a scumbag to treat an old-timer like that. So she made a check out for $1,400. She went and bought a pile of this and that with the credit card. She paid her rent. She was arrested January 7th. She's still in jail. The attitude on that gal.
Yeah. I wonder what she was like before this. I mean, there must have been some signs, right? That she sucked?
Maybe.
Or maybe there wasn't enough interaction to make a difference. I don't know.
Maybe. I watch a television show now and again, Josh, called Signs of a Psychopath. And a few of you here in the building, show them. You do.
Any extra concerning ones?
Episodes of the show?
No, just in this building.
Oh.
Like they've hit every single nail on the head?
Okay. I can't say this is the most concerning. Signs of psychopathy. I'm getting used to that. I always thought it was, I guess maybe, I don't know. They use the word psychopathy a lot in this program, and I'm just getting used to being able to say it out loud. I'm not saying this is the most obvious sign of psychopathy that I see from a fellow employee in this building, but I can tell you one that comes to mind. Your boss, Derek, doesn't like to make eye contact. That is a sign of psychopathy.
He's getting better. We've given him so much crap over that. He texted me once to say he's actively working on that. I was going to ask about eyes because I was going to do something here, and you tell me if this means I'm ready to crack. All right?
Stop.
That facial expression that you're making?
Look at my eyes.
Oh, your eyes
How
are
big they
so,
are.
you have the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, I'm looking through you.
That is a sign.
That is so scary.
You're right, though. Your boss. Now you're making a stabbing motion towards me with a pen in your hand.
No, this is a screwdriver.
Oh, a screwdriver. I can't see through my cheaters.
Even better.
That is a pretty decent sign that you've got something wrong with you. You're right, though, that your boss, Derek, is better at making eye contact. He's getting better every day.
Yeah, he makes effort.
Yeah.
Especially during coitus.
Oh,
it's kind of a turn on.
God.
How about this?
What are you doing? Why are you undoing your pants?
I'm getting new.
You're getting all your clothes off.
I'm getting completely naked in front of my coworker.
Yes, that is a sign.
I'm in here, Josh.
No more examples, please, Josh. No more examples. I trust you. You're psychotic.
I'm trying to learn.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I liked it.
It became a stressful moment.
I didn't know where to look.
Kind of a hot moment.
I thought he was going to get the pee-pee out.
I didn't know how far he was going to go.
My eyes are up here. Sicko.
All right, now, unfortunately, as we move on in the stupid news, unfortunately, there are far too many of these type of sad-ass hard-ons living amongst us. One of those numbskulls that's just waiting for a reason. Deep down, he's terribly unhappy with how his life has turned out, like most of us. But he's not mature enough to handle it. He never grew up. So he waits for a chance to take his childlike anger out on innocent people. And here's what I'm talking about. A ridiculous moron living down there in Tennessee opened fire on a family that was sledding in the snow. Because, according to Stupid Ass, the family was on his property.
Oh, God.
Get off my lawn.
And if you see this dope's mugshot, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You can see it in his eyes. He's an angry little child. In his mugshot, look closely. His lower lip is even sticking out a little bit, like a little friggin' kid.
Ugh. Yeah, you're right. He looks like he's pouting.
He's just a pouty little bitch.
Everyone else is wrong. He's right.
He goes by the name of Ben something. It doesn't matter. This genius is facing 6 counts of aggravated assault. That doesn't sound good. The cops got a call down there. A report of a man shooting at a family of 6 playing outside in the snow. Parents and 4 children. They walked down the street to go sledding on a hill in their neighborhood. They heard gunshots coming from a house down the hill. The mother said she saw snow fly up from the ground just a couple of feet from her 1-year-old son.
Oh, no. He wouldn't have had a chance to get a mugshot.
The parents immediately yelled at the man, later identified by the name of Ben. They yelled at him to stop shooting. That's when Stupid Ass claimed that the family was on his property. And here's the best part. They weren't!
You can see this idiot's mugshot on 93x.com.
The family, of course, got the hell out of there before anything else cut loose. Cops talked to Stupid Ass. Shockingly, he wasn't with a woman or busy visiting with a house full of friends. And the cops confirmed that the family was not on this friggin' guy's property when he began shooting. What an embarrassment to society in general. Go to prison, jack off.
I wish I could have seen his, probably still pouty face when he was told that's not his property.
Wow,
actually. You're doing that, you just got to go, my bad.
That's great.
That's on me.
Yeah, I wish I could have seen his mug.
Oh, really? Oh, that's embarrassing.
Oh, no kidding, huh? Oh, all right. Well, guess I overreacted.
It's just exhausting, isn't it? Just exhausting.
Yeah, you wonder how your trigger's that quick. You know, how you're that angry so fast. You're shooting at a family.
You gotta be one of the stupidest people that has ever lived. I mean, along with some faulty wiring. And again, you never matured at all. You just gotta be 100% pure stupid. You guys will love this. Because you can play the effing Jim Gaffigan Hot Pocket soundbite, and I'll get pissed because I hate that guy.
Oh, I didn't load that up.
Hot Pocket!
Whoops. Wrong button.
Did you hit the wrong button?
Yeah. I don't know how that happened.
Were you trying to hit the karate guy again?
Yeah, I was.
You hit the wrong... Oh, my word. Now hit that same button again.
The exact same button that I just hit?
Yeah, I love that sound of the karate. Kicking that guy's skull right off. Hit it again.
I'm just going to turn it up a little bit, too.
Hot Pockets!
Nothing's working over here.
Our computer's always giving you issues.
You guys will love this. A ball bag of a human being in Michigan with the name of Dan Hudson went to a Dollar General store earlier this month, and he started stuffing Hot Pockets into his pockets.
Hot Pockets!
An employee confronted him. He didn't take that well. He just didn't. He started yelling at employees. He reached into another one of his pockets and pulled out a gun.
Of course.
Let's see what else. He threatened to blow an employee's head off. So that's when the employees backed away and said, you just get the hell out of here. He did.
Take the Hot Pockets, bro.
Employees called the police. They said they knew him. He was a regular customer. They tracked Dan down in the break room at his workplace. So this was lunch break when he went and stole Hot Pockets and threatened to blow the head off of a store employee. Then he went back to work and sat in the break room. Is it 2:30 yet? Are we back to work? So there he was in the break room at his workplace. The cops found him eating his Hot Pocket. They arrested him. They found a gun in his backpack. He told all kinds of ridiculous lies to the cop. They didn't buy any of it. He's a jagoff. And also, what, you never heard of a chuck wagon? You're not 7 anymore. You don't need to eat Hot Pockets.
I got 2 chuck wagons for Christmas.
That's beautiful.
Pretty great gift.
Want to know why? Because you're a man now. You can eat grown-up foods like chuck wagons.
I'm not going to argue with you about this. Hot Pockets are amazing. You're a hater.
Grow up.
They are good.
And eat a chuck wagon.
Has anyone ever had a Hot Pocket that was just perfect temperature, where it wasn't super cold?
Hey,
yes.
Wapple,
yes, plenty of times.
No, what you're doing right now is you're quoting Jim Gaffigan, and I'm not going to let you get away with it. You're quoting Jim Gaffigan and every other sorry comic who included Hot Pockets into their routine.
Yeah, you
have you ever had one that's a perfect? Don't do that to me.
I don't understand how people can't microwave them correctly.
Grow up and eat a damn gas station hot dog like a man.
Oh, dude.
I love dogs off the roller.
That's not so bomb.
I can't believe he just tried to do that. Have you ever had one that's at a perfect...
And my favorite part was when he said it as if it was an original...
Yes, yeah. That made it even worse.
Like go, you know what? That is so relatable. I don't think I ever had one that was perfectly cooked.
And I've never heard anyone talk about it.
What do you think? We've never watched a bad HBO comedy special in our life, for Christ's sake?
Why are people talking about this?
Why do people eat pizza? Who are these people? The hell's the matter with you?
Tell us now.
There's a lot wrong with me. Let's be real.
Tell us now, Wapple, in your own words, how we might know if someone is a redneck.
Yeah, do that. Do that. Wrap it up
Come
with
on, man. Get her done.
Yeah, wrap it up with a get her done and go, and we'll be all good. That's a Dice reference. A lot of folks might be lost. That's a Dice. Haktua, all that crap.
You know what? Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise, a lot of people in here.
Oh, that's Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what, Josh? You only tortured me with Gaffigan twice, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I had a feeling... I even hovered over it going, should I or shouldn't I? But when you brought it up, I thought it was fair game.
Very nice of you. We'll be right back. We're going to check in. Hey, wait till you find out what happened with last night's ball game.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Darnold balls out, picked up by Verse, off to the races, and gone for the touchdown.
They were just better than us today. You know, I left a couple throws out there that could be better on. Just missed opportunities. Got to take care of the football. Can't have the interception, can't have the fumble. Obviously, return for a touchdown. That's a huge play in the game. Yeah, just too many mistakes.
Very tough feeling in that locker room right now. This team was really one of one in my mind as far as the feeling that's in there right now, the brotherhood. This team truly did a lot of special things this year, but, you know, we didn't play well enough to win the football game. We've got the right kind of things going on in this organization, but we've got to find a way to play better. The brotherhood.
It's nice of him to give us a shout out like that.
Yeah, especially
Josh.
Go ahead.
Just for the record, the first 2 words in your Vikings audio, the first 3 words in your Vikings audio is Darnold balls out.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, it's fun. I appreciate that. Former Viking quarterback Sam Darnold.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
The imagery is pretty great if you didn't watch the game last night. You might be thinking, well, that's an interesting strategy just to put your testicles out there for the team.
By the way, speaking of balls out, did anyone find themselves reaching into their own pants while listening to that Pablo ad from a couple minutes ago?
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, man.
I was telling Ashley, I picture him, he was wearing kind of a flowing, open, almost blouse when he was doing it, fresh off a spray tan. There's a fan in there blowing his hair in the wind.
I was listening real closely to the ad, and I found that I was touching myself.
Yeah. He had one leg up on the console while he was doing it. He kind of was making a little bit of a humping motion as he's talking to us.
Oh, man.
That was very sexual.
The Vikings just straight up got their guts stomped out last night, and their season is over. They were just completely overwhelmed by the Los Angeles Rams, and I agree with this text message that I received much earlier this morning, where a listener said the Rams were just better in all phases of the game. I truly think they're a contender and can give Philly and Detroit a tough game. How can you argue after last night? We got so much to talk about concerning the Vikings. So we'll save it for Brad Ryder and Randy Shaver. No, pardon me. Randy Shaver will be here with Willi, Myles, and Janel Klein. Skip the Brad Ryder. He's got the day off. But we got so much to cover. We'll save it till then. The Timberwolves beat the Washington Wizards last night. Golden Gopher dudes basketball got beat at Maryland. But it was a hell of a last couple weeks for the Vikings. We talked about it earlier, but I'm really excited to talk about it again because I find this particular end to the Vikings season, I find it much more interesting than the usual. And I'll explain why in about a half hour. Much more interesting to me how it all ended.
Have you seen some of the memes showing Sam Darnold shoveling cash into a burning furnace?
Yeah.
That's what happened the last two games.
Dude lost himself some big-time money.
All that money people were expecting to get paid next year is dwindled.
That's the word. That's the word going around.
My favorite ones are the ones with J.J. McCarthy, like walking into the room to like Sam Darnold and being like, "It's mine, buddy. It's all me."
JJ's
you
checked
tried.
into the chat.
Yep.
He's
Thanks for
checking
keeping the
into
seat
the
warm,
chat.
pal.
There you go, by damn. Josh's news is coming on up next.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Welcome to the jungle, clones. It's the Jim Rome Show podcast.
The greatest and loyal fan base ever. You, the clones. It all starts with the jungle. We're in it to win it, and I'm in it to go as hard as I possibly can every day to make sure that you clones get the best possible product every single day. Day one, all in, let's freaking go.
The Jim Rome Show. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
You got to have some integrity about what you do, no matter what side. If you in the hood or you educated or you think you're rich or you poor, certain things you just don't do.
Including this one. A disgraced police officer will never wear the badge again after giving a homeless man a poop sandwich. Is something that I cannot say because somehow he's back in uniform, and ain't that some shiz. Somehow, the 42-year-old cop, fired twice for giving a homeless man a dog poop sandwich, is back on the beat. In 2016, Matthew Luckhurst lost his San Antonio gig after what Police Chief William McManus called a vile and disgusting act. He scooped up some dog poop, slapped it between slices of bread, stuck it in a styrofoam container, and left it near a sleeping homeless man. But Luckhurst claimed the sandwich wasn't meant for eating, just tossing. Either way, gross. And that wasn't his only questionable moment. The same year, he was accused of defecating in a female officer's restroom and smearing the poop.
This guy's got a friggin' gimmick, doesn't he?
That's his thing. Fast forward to 2019, Luckhurst appealed his firing, briefly got his badge back, but was shown the door again in 2020. By 2022, he resurfaced 30 miles from San Antonio, only to get fired again after public outrage. But you can't keep a poop sandwich enthusiast down for long. He's now policing about 150 miles south, and his new chief insists the record there is squeaky clean. A thorough background check was done, they say, and his record has been exemplary.
Well, in that thorough background check, they should have noticed the 3 times he had fecal, what's the word I'm looking for, Josh? Transgressions. Yeah.
They did. But they thought they could overlook it in the second case, right?
That is one disturbed individual.
Right. And the public said, no, that's not the guy we want running around here making poop sandwiches for those who are, having a tough time in life. And
wow.
Now, though, they say, hey, he's turned over a new leaf. He's no longer playing with poop.
What in the living hell is wrong with this guy? And is it that hard up to find a cop nowadays? Or does he have pictures of the commissioner of police squad?
Oh, okay. Now maybe it's a blackmail situation.
Got pictures of the commissioner humping a walrus or something, and he's going to keep a gig for life.
A terrifying incident unfolded when a 60-year-old man was arrested after breaking into a home completely naked and wreaking havoc while reportedly planning to kill the family inside. When officers arrived, they found him in the kitchen, as naked as your mama in a bubble bath, surrounded by shattered glass and a smorgasbord of food that he ransacked and flung. He just opened our cabinets, started eating, and threw away what he didn't like, one of the residents said. The family captured the aftermath on their phone. Video reveals a pretty big mess. Broken dishes, spoiled food, toppled plants, and other household items tossed around like yo mama at a swingers party.
What the hell's going on?
And as I said, he was naked.
What was he wearing?
Nothing.
No pants?
No pants.
No shirt?
No shirt.
Nothing.
Nothing.
During questioning, the man claimed he broke in because he heard loud noises coming from the apartment. Police say on top of wrecking the place, he also exposed himself to the family, who told police they have no idea who the man was.
Broke in because he heard loud noises. I'll save you.
Then, when questioned, he chillingly admitted he planned on killing them all.
Oh, no.
Authorities have him in custody, and that incident is under investigation.
Pretty vile stuff right there. Do you eat in the tub, Josh?
No.
No?
My wife used to let my son, and I had to put a stop to it because it just gets gross in there. I don't understand what's going on.
Really?
Yeah. Like
Wait, how?
Meals.
What is he doing with it? What was he doing with the food?
He sets it on the little side thing there and goes for it.
This when he was a little kid, I would imagine.
No. I mean, to this day, he requests it, and my wife, if I'm not around, she'll allow it.
What kind of foods does he like to enjoy in the tub?
Anything.
I'll take my mac and cheese in the bath, please.
Mac and cheese is a big one.
I had a PB&J in the tub not too long ago, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. I'm very clean about it. I've got like a nice little shelf you can set up in the middle of the bath.
Oh, is it teak?
Teak?
They're often teak. Those little wooden shelves.
Oh, probably, yeah.
And
beautiful choice.
I'm not trying to start trouble, but how come the kid's still in the tub?
He does both.
Yeah?
It just kind of depends what's going on.
And when he's had a rough day, he needs a nice bubble bath.
Right. He gets in there with a glass of wine, some rose petals, a romance novel.
So what's the most interesting food residue you found in your tub?
Well, I mean, honestly, just name a food. He's had it in there.
So just like a soaking wet potato chip and...
everything.
God damn. Gross. That sounds gross.
A Florida cemetery became the scene of a disturbing incident early Wednesday morning when a teenager drove through a graveyard, leaving several headstones damaged and hundreds dead, if not thousands. The Wildwood Police Department reported the crash around 2:36 a.m. Witnesses described a dark-colored SUV screaming through the graveyard, smashing into tombstones before making a quick getaway.
I was heartbroken. I was pissed more than anything. Sick to my stomach that somebody would do this, but God knows who done this.
The getaway wasn't exactly clean. Police soon discovered bits of the vehicle littered among the wreckage. I just hope whoever did this really regrets it, changes their ways, and comes out here to make it right, one resident who has loved ones buried there said. With the help of surveillance footage and some detective work, officers tracked down the SUV to a residence nearly 2 miles from the cemetery. They arrested a teenage suspect whose late-night antics earned him charges of leaving the scene of a crash and causing property damage.
Oh, that's not good.
Those headstones are expensive, too. Ooh.
Yeah, they certainly can be, that's for sure.
I hope mine is. Just to cause everyone else a problem. You know what I mean?
I want one
you
of
have
those.
like one of those mausoleum ones.
Just a big monument?
Yeah, that's what I want. I want
I
one of
hope
those obnoxious statues.
I hope it cost my family their last dime.
They can be expensive, even the cheap ones. A 19-year-old's been charged after breaking into a 5 million-gallon water reservoir in West St. Paul to go fishing. According to court documents, the adventure kicked off just before 10 p.m. November 19th. When West St. Paul police responded to a disturbance at the reservoir. Apparently, 3 or 4 thrill seekers had climbed atop the underground tank, which happened to be holding drinking water for the area. When they arrived, they called for the group to come down, announcing they were under arrest, but instead of calmly reeling it in, the crew bolted into the nearby neighborhood. Police found the hatch to the reservoir open with damage to the lock and a crowbar nearby. The 19-year-old was soon tracked down, cooling off in someone's backyard. Once in custody, he admitted to the break-in, explaining he and his buddies heard there was fish there and wanted to check it out.
Did they catch anything?
They did not.
Oh.
They caught, I guess, a couple of misdemeanors.
It's
Turns
all for
out
nothing.
they're into making fishing videos in weird spots. That's kind of their gimmick.
Check us out on YouTube.
He denied cracking open the hatch, throwing his unnamed pals under the bus instead. Police later caught up with one of the fleeing juveniles who confessed to being part of the escapade. A third man even turned himself in, but insisted he didn't mess with the hatch or contaminate the water. Cost a few grand for them to test everything and fix everything, but they didn't do anything nasty in there.
Sounds really, really stupid.
A 20-year-old Pennsylvania man attacked his parents when mom refused to bankroll his marijuana habit.
Why won't his mother pay for his marijuana?
I don't understand why.
Is she a square?
It kind of sounds like maybe she had this coming. Evan Hausman's dad called 911, reporting his son was assaulting his wife. According to police, the trouble started the night before when Hausman demanded money from mom to buy weed. When she said no, he threw a temper tantrum. By the next morning, things had gone from bad to worse. His mom told police her son put her in a headlock, and when Dad stepped in, he reportedly hurled a TV and Xbox down some stairs, destroying them both and damaging a wall.
Can you imagine putting your mother in a headlock?
Nope.
Not for a second.
Go to sleep.
When his dad went to survey the damage, Hausman shoved him down some steps, sending him crashing into a garage door. Dad retreated outside while Mom called 911, but Hausman wasn't done yet. He followed his father into the driveway, pushed him down, and reportedly put him in a headlock, threatening to, quote, take you both out.
This kid's just dumping headlocks like it's a 1976 AWA show.
After finally letting his dad go, he turned his rage on his dad's car, attacking it with a stick. Police arrived, but Hausman didn't go quietly. While in custody, he reportedly lashed out, kicking officers in, quote, sensitive areas, meaning the genitalia, I'd imagine. Both parents were hospitalized while Hausman ended his night in jail.
Hospitalized.
Yeah.
This dude needs to stop smoking weed.
Congratulations, kid. You've just made yourself out to be the most spoiled sumbitch on the planet, for God's sake.
Well, maybe mom should have sprung for the weed.
Boy, it sounds like they might have had kind of a loose setup over there. Would you say, Josh?
Yeah, maybe an unusual relationship between parent and child. Or maybe they were just so desperate that they thought, this is the only thing that calms them down.
I can't imagine putting one of my parents in a headlock, but I can't imagine raking the back just once.
A heated household dispute spiraled weirdly out of control when a 53-year-old legally blind man accidentally shot his one-legged friend while trying to evict a roommate. Dan Phelps had apparently had enough of his longtime roommate Daniel, but things didn't go as planned. Police responded about 6 p.m. Thursday after Phelps' son reported tensions had boiled over. According to the son, the family had been trying to evict their unwelcome roommate, Daniel, for months. Earlier that day, they thought they'd finally succeeded by changing the locks, only for Daniel to stage a dramatic comeback by breaking in through a basement window. When Phelps returned home at 5:45 p.m. to discover Daniel back inside, he called Joey for reinforcements, vowing to drag him out themselves. Joey is a friend of his. Armed and on edge, Phelps prepared for a showdown. According to The Sun, Phelps armed himself for the confrontation, wary of Daniel's warning that, quote, friends would soon arrive to make them, quote, sorry. Joey arrived shortly afterward, and together they headed to the basement to confront Daniel. Moments later, a gunshot rang out. From upstairs, The Sun heard Phelps apologizing to Joey for shooting him, followed by 3 or 4 more gunshots fired into Daniel's door, actions The Sun believed were driven by anger over accidentally blasting a hole in his buddy. You shot me, Joey reportedly said, to which Phelps repeatedly replied, I'm sorry, it was an accident. The bullet struck Joey's knee and prosthetic leg, leaving him wounded but seemingly unfazed. Phelps later explained to police his limited vision only allows him to see light and shadows, and his primary goal was to rid the house of Daniel so his son could finally move in, and shooting his friend was not on purpose.
Oh, be damned. I always enjoy dumping this one into the mix once in a while. I have a relative who once beat up a blind person. You can continue on now, John.
Oh, yeah. I always thought if I'm in a gunfight, I'm giving the gun to the blind guy. That's my number one strategy.
No, it's one of the most infamous stories from when I was a little kid. You know, my parents had a lot of beer parties. And one night, they had a friend over, and this guy was legally blind and an absolute prick. Well, there was a relative of mine at this beer party who got into a verbal altercation with the legally blind guy, and they stepped outside to fight. My relative did not know this man was legally blind in any way, shape, or form. He didn't know the guy. All he knew was this guy's an abrasive prick who's pissing everybody off at the party, and he could use a good punch in the mouth. So my relative stepped outside and began to easily win a fist fight until someone said, hey, hang on a second. This guy can't see. I love that one.
Dude, that's so awful. What did your family member do? Just back up and put his head down?
He just, obviously, he eased her back. But anyone who was at that party that night, and a few of them are still alive, they say, the guy had it coming.
Do you think any of them, knowing he had it coming, knowing he was blind, just let it play out just a little bit so the guy got his comeuppance?
Very likely.
A road rage incident in Georgia escalated into a dramatic shooting after a suspect ominously warned his victim that he'd opened fire by the count of 3. Around 8 p.m., police were called to the scene, where they found the victim nursing a gunshot wound to his left foot. The trouble began when the suspect started tailgating the victim, prompting him to pull into a parking lot. The suspect followed. In an attempt to confront the situation, the victim got out of his car and approached the other vehicle, which turned out to be a very bad idea.
We had an altercation in the car. He was tailgating me. He just kept bothering me, and I got upset.
An argument quickly erupted, and the suspect pulled a gun, giving the chilling ultimatum, you've got until the count of 3 to leave me alone. Then the countdown to 3 began, but the victim must have waited till 4.
I can't believe he shot me.
After firing the shot, the suspect fled the scene, but his getaway was short-lived thanks to traffic cameras. Police quickly tracked him down and made the arrest. He fell through. I mean, he went through with his threat there, I guess.
He said what he was going to do, and he did it.
A 30-year-old paraprofessional from Bemidji Middle School is under investigation for sending explicit photos and videos to a student via Snapchat. The situation came to light in December when a 13-year-old student reported the interaction to a counselor. The student claimed the paraprofessional, who had worked in his class the previous year, initially asked for his Snapchat handle. Over the summer, their conversation reportedly escalated, culminating in her sharing explicit content. Adding to the allegations, the student recalled an instance where the woman mentioned owning a sex swing while chatting with him and a friend in a school hallway.
Whoa.
Another classmate also reported she openly discussed her sexual activities with her husband. You know what, just a little bit ago, we were talking about Christmas bonuses, and I mentioned this before, but I dated a girl who got a sex swing as a Christmas bonus, and this was a major corporation. It was like one of those white elephant games. They're all playing there at the office, and she got a sex swing.
Times have changed.
Yeah, it'd be a little different nowadays.
Yeah.
HR would get a call.
Did we put it to good use?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to, Dana? No, it never left her car. And we didn't hang it up in the car. The Bemidji Area School District swiftly responded, stating that the paraprofessional was immediately removed from all assignments upon receiving the complaint. By the way, she said, when confronted by cops, I guess I just enjoyed getting the attention. She cited some marital issues and explained the attention from the boy helped fill that void.
Oh, surprise, you were able to get attention from a child.
Man.
A 26-year-old Canadian man is facing voyeurism charges after an unsettling incident at a fitness center.
Was he watching people poop?
Close.
Yeah.
According to police, the man was caught taking photos of a 10-year-old girl while she was changing.
Oh, no.
The incident happened in a unisex change room Saturday the 4th, just before 5 p.m. The girl was in a private stall when her father spotted someone next door snapping pictures with their phone.
Oh, no.
The furious father tipped off staff, who quickly called the cops. Officers seized the man's phone and are investigating the contents for further evidence. In the meantime, authorities are reminding people, especially parents, to stay vigilant in shared public spaces, noting that as technology evolves, so do the perverts.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it's pretty sick, bro.
That guy's lucky to be alive if Dad got him.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, too, that Dad maintained his composure there, got the staff and cops involved, and didn't whoop his ass, which I think a lot of people would completely understand. Dave Grohl's 56 today. Jason Bateman, also 56.
Wow.
LL Cool J, a year older than both those guys at 57, and 1 year older than that, Zach Wilde, 58. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
Got a fat ass and a bad attitude.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Got his team ready to go. Made the comment, the league did the right thing in terms of keeping the priority and moving the game out of Inglewood here to Arizona, and his team came here ready to play.
We had a special group. This team, one of the best teams I've ever been on. The sky was the limit for us, you know what I mean? But it was all about, going 1-0, and today we was 0-1, and that just happened to be the last one.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. Any loss in the playoffs is tough. I haven't seemed to get a playoff win yet in my career, so that's definitely something I'm still, chasing after and trying to strive for. But it's definitely tough, having this type of season with as close as we are as a team. But it's just still more work to be done.
Well, we got one hell of a crowd here this morning on the Half-Assed Morning Show. All of us gathered here today to eulogize the freshly dead Minnesota Vikings. Randy Shaver's here, C. Willi Myles, Janel Klein. Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello. Janelle, you want to start?
What are your takeaways from the game, Janelle?
Dearly beloved.
We'll gather here.
Janelle, do you watch a lot of football?
I do, and I did watch last night.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun, but I
You did not
depending
have a
on
good
what
time?
team you were cheering for.
That's
you're right.
true.
I mean, they got their guts stomped out last night. And their season is friggin' over. C. Willi
They are
Myles.
who we thought they were.
Oh.
We let them off the hook.
Yeah, that was a back-to-back, just a slush sandwich, what we call that.
Slush
sandwich, man. They just couldn't do nothing.
Man, Randy Shaver completely overwhelmed. The Vikings were completely overwhelmed. 27-9 was the final. Sam Darnold repeatedly got his ass kicked.
He's a cone.
And he last night and last week, maybe Sam Darnold, maybe that's a fair comparison that he's a cone. He was sacked an all-time record-tying 9 times. That's just ridiculous.
At least he set a record.
Well, he tied one.
Tied a record.
Oh, God, you can't even set a record right?
On one occasion, of course, when he was running for his life, he got the ball slapped out of his hands, and a Ram picked the sumbitch up and ran for a touchdown. He was intercepted once as well, and the Rams' offense made enough big plays in the first half to go on and win the ball game. I mean, they just got pumped.
Darnold, ball's out, picked up by Verse, off to the races, and gone for the touchdown.
What's on your mind, Randy?
Well, I would say that, a couple of things. One, Sam just looked shaky again.
I would be too when a guy's in my back pocket every 10 seconds.
The difference between last week and this week is that the Lions blitzed almost every play.
Yeah.
The Rams, on 7 of the 9 sacks last night, it was only a 4-man rush. The Vikings offensive line got their butts kicked in that game last night. Did not run the ball effectively. Could not protect Sam. And sometimes it's not necessarily their fault altogether because Sam held the ball way too long.
Yep.
I think I spent, like many Viking fans, probably spent a lot of time yelling at the TV last night, throw the ball, get rid of it. It just held on to it way too long, trying to make plays. And so that, and then I guess I don't understand why on 4th and 2, late in the first half, at midfield or wherever they were, why go for it when your offense is doing nothing? The game is relatively still close. You're in the ball game. You get the ball to start the second half. Why would you go for 4th and 2 and then obviously not get it, and the Rams score a touchdown to end the half? That was not a smart play.
Not a great coaching call there.
No, that was not a good call. And, you know, Dan Campbell is rubbed off on too many people. And I just didn't, punt the ball, let your defense finish out the half, come back and figure things out in the second half, and you're only down at that point, whatever it was, 20-3 or whatever it was.
Right, bad call.
Instead of 20, 24-3 or whatever it was.
I think it was 24 at the end of the half.
24-3. Yeah.
I want to go back to what you said about 7. I find this very interesting, what you said. 7 out of the 9 sacks on Darnold, and they hit him hard, too. They were putting him on his ass.
They did.
That's very interesting what you said. 7 out of the 9 sacks were a 4-man rush. Now, after the Detroit game, we kind of all assumed that the Rams would steal a page from the Lions and blitz the living hell out of the Vikings. So you're saying they did not come at the Vikings with that insane blitz package. It was just a 4-man rush. Why? So my question would be, why was it so difficult for them then?
Well,
I think we all understand why it was difficult in the Detroit game because they were just blitzing the living hell. So why was it so difficult for them to get anything done with a 4-man rush? The Vikings offensive line protected Sam pretty well all year long. Why was it so difficult last night?
I would say that the Rams' defensive front four is better than the Lions at this point right now.
They didn't have that reputation going into the game.
They were pretty good.
Okay.
They were having a really good season. The difference is the Lions' defensive front line is so banged up that, to me, when I watched the Lions game last week, Aaron Glenn just decided, look, we're not going to be able to get to him as much with a 4-man rush. We need to blitz the guy. We need to send more than 4 guys. I think in the Rams' case, it's a combination of their line was more physical.
They were just that damn good last night.
And Sam held the ball too long.
All right.
I mean, I
9 sacks. That's incredible.
Well, it's like, what's the text I sent you last night, Nick?
Oh, see, I'm not on social media, but someone said...
No, I sent you a text.
Oh, you did?
I did. I sent you
on
a
your
text.
phone.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't. I put it on social. You're right.
Someone told me you made a reference to Archie Manning and the Chicago Bears. Yeah.
Yeah, It's what it felt like last night. That maybe not quite as brutal because Archie got absolutely brutally crushed in that 11-sack game.
Physically, it wasn't the severe beating that Archie took. See, Willie Myles, you're a football guy. Give us your thoughts on the another brutal ending to a Minnesota Vikings season.
I just thought our offense had zero creativity. You know what I mean? They didn't. He didn't have an answer for anything. Like they ran the most basic plays, and you're right. I mean, I agree with Randy 100%, and I think that Donald just held on to the ball like way too long. You're asking a lot from your paper mache offensive line.
I didn't know the offensive line for the Vikings was such a mess.
I don't think.
Just last night they were a mess.
Right.
Okay.
But when they were getting to you that quick, you got to come up with something.
Yeah.
I don't think see, Willie, I don't think O'Connell and the coaching staff did a very good job of figuring out how to get Sam in a better position last night.
Yeah.
They did not get the ball to Jefferson. They did not there just wasn't, I agree with you, not a lot of creativity. It just seemed like they didn't make adjustments last night. The Rams were making plays defensively, and the Vikings just never seemed to adjust to what the Rams were doing.
And that's on the coaches. And you know what? A lot of folks are making jokes about Sam Darnold the last couple of weeks, and for good reason. And the specific jokes, Josh was talking about this earlier. His facial expressions the last 2 weeks, getting thumped by the Lions and then last night getting thumped by the Rams. Sam Darnold's facial expressions led you to believe that he was so overwhelmed to be in that situation. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I know everyone loves this O'Conrad guy because he's cute and he says all the right things. But I'm telling you, the last 2 weeks, he looked just as overwhelmed as Darnold did. Everyone loves it.
Very tough.
What do you say,
feeling
Randy?
in that locker room right now? This team was really one of one in my mind as far as the feeling that's in there right now, the brotherhood. This team truly did a lot of special things this year, but, we didn't play well enough to win the football game. We've got the right kind of things going on in this organization, but we've got to find a way to play better.
He looked out of his league. Yeah.
The brotherhood.
Yeah. I mean, I think outcoached in the last 2 games, in the most important games of the year. And again, I just don't think they made the adjustments that they needed to make last night.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the arguably the best receiver in football.
Yep.
He had 5 catches for 58 yards last night. He needed to get the ball more. You needed to figure out a better way to get him the ball, and it just didn't happen last night.
I mentioned this earlier because I laughed out loud sitting on my couch. I'm sure the rest of you noticed this. The Vikings are down 18 points in the fourth quarter.
Oh, God.
And they're wandering up to the line.
That was frustrating.
They quit.
Oh.
It seemed that way.
But here's the line, and I'm sure some of you remember it. There's about 6.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They're down 18 points, and they're still just kind of wandering up to the line and making some audibles.
Yeah.
No, there was some hurry up, but not a lot. And Joe Buck says, I'm going to assume the Vikings know they're down 18 points right now, but they're not acting like it. Now, that's that's the coaches.
Dude, when my wife is on the couch going, hurry up!
So did O'Conrad just give up with 6.5 minutes left in a playoff game? If that's the case, that's friggin' embarrassing.
Yeah, it looks like that to me. Honestly,
it felt like they were. It felt like they were lost, and they didn't really know what to do in that situation. And they tried to throw the ball downfield later in the fourth quarter as 2 minutes or whatever. They needed to be doing that a lot more with 6-7 minutes to go in trying to make something happen. I just don't think they looked shell-shocked, and they just did not adjust to what was going on in the game.
Something else.
Darnold, balls out!
Balls out, Sam Darnold. Former Viking quarterback Sam Darnold, I believe, at this point.
I think you're right. I don't think they'll bring him back. I just don't.
And I'll go ahead and admit, and if Brad Ryder was on the line, I would hope he would admit that a month ago we said, forget about J.J. McCarthy. Forget about him. Keep Darnold, trade J.J., get some great players in return for J.J. McCarthy. Now that idea is ridiculous. It seems ridiculous to me.
Today. I left a couple throws out there that could be better on. Just missed opportunities. Got to take care of the football. Can't have the interception. Can't have the fumble. Obviously, return for a touchdown. That's a huge play in the game. Yeah, just too many mistakes.
And what
I would say he left more than plays out on the field. He left millions of dollars out on the field.
You were talking about some of those memes online. They're pretty funny.
Everyone's making jokes. Sam Darnold has lit his free agency money on fire. Sam Darnold went from maybe getting a 3-year contract for $40 million per year. Now the Vikings will maybe franchise tag him and he'll have to...
No, they won't.
Okay,
No,
whatever.
Won't.
That's not the point. The point is everyone... think you're having a bad day, someone said. Sam Darnold has cost himself $100 million in 9 days. And this is all this contractual, stuff.
I mean, it's speculation, but, I mean, clearly his stock as a franchise quarterback, and he's only 25, right, or 26 or whatever he is, has gone down in the last 2 weeks. And not to take away from anything that he did during the regular season. I saw a lot of people on, let's be happy it was 14. I get it. I understand that logic, but championships are won in the postseason. They're not won in the regular season.
That's right.
The regular season, as Troy Aikman said last night, 14 wins don't mean anything if you lose in the first round of the playoffs.
I heard him say that. He said, I hate to say that 14 wins doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
I mean, it's nice, and we'll remember it, but it doesn't mean anything.
It means absolutely nothing now.
It really doesn't. At this point, it doesn't. I mean, it's a great accomplishment, and they only got to 14 wins. One of the reasons why was Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. No doubt. But that loss last week to Detroit meant they had to go on the road in the playoffs.
Is that right?
And we all know what struggles they've had in that.
Yeah.
And then to show up at a neutral site game where they basically had more fans in the stands than the Rams did.
It was almost like
and not win that game and not really show up to win that game.
No, just get crushed.
I think it's just crushed. Yeah.
Right.
I when we first cracked the mics, I had to say this out loud, and I'll say it again. I find the ending of this season much more interesting than the others. Because in the last 2 weeks of the season, as we've been talking about, the Vikings performed the way everybody assumed they would before the season started. They proved a lot of people wrong in the first 16 games of the season, but when it mattered most, they became the team that all the experts predicted. Everyone said you can't win with Sam Darnold. Well, they did for 16 weeks. And, of course, I'm personally disappointed because, once again, I held up my end of the bargain with this ball club. I gave them the confidence boost they needed by predicting a few weeks ago that they would win the Super Bowl, but the team let me down. I gave them all I could by predicting a Super Bowl.
Here's the deal, Nick.
Yes, Randy Shaver?
Here's the deal. If they didn't play the Lions and they didn't play the Rams, you probably would have got there.
They would have been the Super Bowl.
But they got beat twice by the Lions and twice by the Rams.
You know, what's funny is, you're right, someone texted in and said, hey, can you find audio of Nick predicting the Vikings will win the Super Bowl, like as if they're trying to embarrass me. I'm not embarrassed or feel any shame at all because, again, I held up my end of the deal.
Right.
It was the Vikings who couldn't finish.
Right. You're being a fan.
That's right.
You're being a fan. That's what fans do.
Well, I bet my mortgage on it, so I'm a little disappointed in the pick. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers can turn our season around next year.
Don't.
Just trade Darnold back to his old team.
Josh,
Jersey's out.
That would be the ultimate gift.
Oh, my God.
For me personally, to have that friggin' moron come to town and wobble around the ball field for 16, 17 weeks, that would be like a gift from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Here's a text message from a local football fan. Congratulations, Vikings, on making it 1 day longer than the Packers in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's over. It's over. And it wasn't just me. It felt to a lot of us, I think, like it would last a lot longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They overperformed until it counted.
My damn.
Well, it was a game before the Detroit Lions game that I felt like the wheel was starting to come loose.
Who'd they play in that one?
Wasn't that Atlanta?
Okay, go ahead. What happened in that game that gave you a hint?
Yeah, it wasn't. They weren't gelling. They didn't look that. The middle of the season, man, they were polished. They looked unstoppable. The offense and the defense was just clicking. And then all of a sudden the offense just started to stall a little bit, you know. And then that Detroit game, man, just really, boy, I tell you, that was hard to watch, you know. And I mean, it's like, and again, and most people know that my wife is a huge Viking fan. I grew up in Alabama. I don't really have no allegiance, so I can't really get down like that. My wife, she gets emotional. Yeah. You know, and I just sit there and watch the game like, you know, I'm watching just a drama on TV, you know, trying to figure out the plots. That's all I'm doing.
It was weird.
Only C. Willi could tell that story and say, I don't really get down like that.
You know what I mean?
That would have sounded the same coming from me.
Right. Like, the only jersey I ever wore had my own name on the back. Like, I don't have, like, jerseys.
Yeah. Same.
I don't
That's
dress
so cool.
up to go to the, you know what I mean? I'll wear a sweatshirt with the Viking on it, but I'm not that guy. You know, I just don't get down like that, man, you know.
I get it. So there
I'm
you
never
go.
disappointed is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I don't have to worry about that disappointment.
Yeah.
You know, like she does, you know, like I had to, you know, talk her down last night just when she went to bed, you know, just, you okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
You don't want to lay next to an angry person.
Yeah. I went to bed before my boyfriend, C. Willi, Myles, and I told him, I said, don't wake me up. I don't want to hear, unless something absolutely crazy happens and they somehow win this game, do not wake me up with the results of the game. I don't want to hear it. I'm done.
Some people take it harder than others, and I'm not trying to be cute with that. Josh and I used to work with a young man who was so down and so devastated he couldn't go to school the morning after the Ultimate Warrior defeated Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. He could not get out of bed and go to school because he took it so personally when the Ultimate Warrior defeated Hulk Hogan. I want to say WrestleMania 6 or something like that.
We've had a few people here that have taken losses of their favorite sport personally. We worked with a guy who was furious with the Vikings because he was, quote, invested in the team.
Don't even do this to me. My blood pressure will skyrocket if we do this.
But he was invested in the team. Unlike other sports fans, they're not invested like...
Oh, you mean because his mother and father spent all that money on tickets?
Yeah, and he watches the game.
Yeah.
Plays fantasy, sports, all that kind of stuff.
How about...
Well, the loss last night extends Minnesota's losing streak as the longest in North America for any professional team. Again, we revere the 1987 and 91 Twins for winning the World Series, and they continue to be the light on top of the hill for every sports franchise ever in this town as far as professional franchise goes. No offense to the Lynx and winning their championships. I'm talking about baseball, football, basketball, and hockey professionally here in Minnesota. It's just, you know, are we cursed? I don't know if we're cursed. It just doesn't work out. It just doesn't happen.
It's not cursed. Please don't do that. Not within 5 minutes of Josh mentioning
we're not cursed.
The dude that was he's invested in the team.
Would you agree they choked, though?
I would agree. I would say last night they got outplayed last night, and they got outcoached.
Here's the thing.
I don't think they choked. Choke to me is you have a chance to win late, and you don't do it. They were never in a position to do that last night. So I wouldn't say choked. I would just say they were clearly outplayed. They were not the best team the last 2 weeks.
I'm glad you asked that question, Josh, because as you know, I have a problem with that term.
You don't like it.
Too many fans around here use the word choke or blew it, and I feel like they use those terms improperly. Now, if you would have asked me before the game, if the Vikings lose this game, is it a choke? I would have said yes. But after watching that game, despite the team's records and despite the team's reputations, I think the Rams proved that they are the far superior football team. So then I would say, no, that wasn't a choke. The Rams proved they were a way better football team.
Did you find the game mundane?
Did I find the game mundane?
Shallow and pedantic?
The Packers-Eagles game, that was mundane.
Did it insist upon itself?
It did insist upon itself. It should have been. Speaking of the Eagles, so the Rams now get the honor of playing in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Against the Eagles.
Yeah.
Now, Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown, apparently during that mundane, pedantic game against Green Bay that insisted upon itself, during the game, A.J. Brown's on the sideline. He's reading a book when he had time to set for a while. He's reading a book.
There's probably some young people going, what the hell is that? I don't know. That's not an iPad.
Right. Not a screen, he's reading a good old-fashioned binded book.
It was a personal growth book.
It was, yeah.
Right. Yes.
Inner excellence.
That's right.
That's right.
Everyone paid attention to this. Everyone took notice to this. A book by a feller named Jim Murphy, and as you said, the book is called Inner Excellence, and it's some kind of, what did you call it, Randy Shaver? A
personal growth.
Personal...
Self-help.
Yeah, trying to be a better person.
So, fans, Eagles fans, and I guess football fans in general, have now pushed that book to the number one spot. It's the number one best-selling book on Amazon in the last 3-4 days. The author, this Murphy character, had just 1,400 some odd followers on Instagram before the game. And now he's the most popular man in the world.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the Philly fans become better people because of this book then.
More of a self-help book.
They need way more than that.
Thank God.
By the way,
how about the guy that's just being, and rightly so, is being lambasted on social media for the vulgar comments he made to a female Packers fan
he was
and
terrible.
her husband.
Just violent.
That was absolutely awful. That guy,
I agree.
I mean, his company has had to come out and distance themselves from this guy. That guy's going to lose his job.
Twitter did its thing. I love it.
I know nothing about this.
They found him with
there are some times when social media works the way it should.
Yep.
This is one of them.
Okay, so I have no idea what we're talking about. So how old of a guy is this?
Oh, he looked like he was in his 50s.
He's probably in his 50s.
Okay, and there's a female Packer fan at the Eagles-Packers game in Philadelphia, and he just cuts loose on her?
Oh,
he calls her the worst name you can think of. Yep.
And the husband is filming it on his phone.
Oh, dude.
And the guy's threatening them. And he's just just awful. The things that he said and did.
And it was
and they posted it. And people started saying, who is this guy? Who is this guy?
Right.
And, of course, it doesn't take long to identify the person. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he'll be banned from –
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure he's not the only Eagles fan that's outrageously terrible, but he just happened to get caught on social media, and – he's going to get everything he deserves. That was awful.
Interesting.
Big props to her for just, I don't know, kind of having that restraint is impressive.
Big props to her husband, too, for not, losing his. Because I'm pretty sure I would have caught a case.
You would have caught a case.
Yeah, you would have left that stadium in handcuffs.
I would have been in bracelets. Absolutely.
Oh, I see.
Without a doubt.
You would have slugged this guy and gone to that cool jail they have under the building.
Right.
That would be kind of a badge of honor to go to that underground jail at the stadium.
One of my bros has been there.
Has he?
Yep.
That's cool.
But it was funny though because I was reading that, and then the one guy said that this is not indicative of who we are. And then the next thing would go, are you sure about that? And then it was just clip after clip after clip of the Philly fans just destroying people.
Yeah. They have a reputation.
Oh,
they do. They have a reputation.
But there's one thing to have a reputation and to say things about an opponent's team.
100.
But when you do it on a on a terribly personal level like that, and then none of his friends or anybody around him stopped him.
Yeah.
He just continued on.
I got to see this video. I got to see
that
this.
was bad.
It was
It was bad.
And it even looks like he has a wedding ring on, so he's got a
married.
wife.
Yeah, he has a wife and a daughter.
Daughter.
Yeah.
He's married and has a daughter.
They probably have his back.
Yeah, you tell him, Dad.
Not now.
They probably have his back.
Wow.
All right. I was unaware of that. I got to check that video out. Yeah, people just get too wound up. Back to, because I really do enjoy this topic, back to how hard some folks take a loss, their favorite team, maybe even their favorite television wrestler. Josh, another guy that we used to know. Now, this was a unique situation. Josh and I used to know a guy. This is many, many years ago. The Golden Gopher Basketball Club. Take it easy, Randy. You were disgusted yesterday when we had the conversation. The Golden Gopher Basketball Club, this is many years ago, lost a big game. Season came to an end. I don't remember if it was the NCAA tournament. It must have been the NCAA tournament. They lose. Season's over. This dude that Josh and I used to know is just furious, even wishing ill will upon them for losing this ball game. He hopes they feel terrible. What an awful, awful performance. I hope they feel terrible this morning after what they did last night. And then minutes later admitted he didn't watch a single game the entire season.
Nope, never once.
Made 0 sense.
The same guy that bragged about, oh my gosh, you got to go see the brand new Target Field when it opened. It's gorgeous. It's probably the best in all Major League Baseball. And we're like, well, when'd you go? Because he'd been talking about it forever. And he's like, well, I haven't, but I played it on MLB The Show.
Oh.
Ridiculous.
Same thing.
Come on, dude.
And he wasn't trying to be funny.
No, just out of this world ridiculous. Now, it brings up something, I think that's pretty obvious. I think some of the rage that fans feel when their team loses, chokes, blows it, however you want to put it, some of the rage comes from, some folks, their favorite ball club is their entire identity.
Right.
Which is a little creepy. Other folks, a ball game gives them something to do, gives them a reason to drink, gives them a reason for this or that. And when that's taken away from them, they don't know what to do with that anger.
I would also add to that, Nick, that, ticket prices in our day and age right now for professional sports, it's almost like parents who invest in their kids' sports throughout
they feel they're owed something.
They feel they're owed something. It's almost like I spent all that money and that's all I got. Kind of a feeling. And because the prices are so high and because you're spending so much money, it's not even so much the time that's spent there. It's the money that you've invested in being a fan.
Right.
That you kind of. I think that's part of it, too.
All right, let's move on now to some other football stuff. The Dallas Cowboys and the Beeve parted ways yesterday. And there's talk about Bill Belichick, even though he just took a job at the University of North Carolina.
Deion Sanders.
And there's talk about prime time. Coach Prime.
Deion is perfect. He is perfect for that job.
That won't be annoying at all.
Oh, he'll be perfect for that job, though.
Okay.
They need somebody that's flamboyant and high energy and kick-ass in charge. And Jerry Jones will Jerry Jones is equal, or Jones will actually play a second fiddle to that guy.
Do you think that Deion Sanders will only coach the Cowboys if they draft his son?
Well, you can't control that. Right.
Well, they can control that, but the Dallas Cowboys would have to trade away everything in order to get that. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're saying. I don't know if that's going to be the deal breaker. I just know that if Deion Sanders is ever going to coach in the NFL as a head coach, this would be the job. This is the job.
Oh, yeah.
That's the ownership. That's the limelight. That's the job.
Yeah, he's not going to Cleveland.
If I was his agent, I would advise him against that.
You would advise him against coaching the Cowboys?
Absolutely.
Because of the pressure and the expectations?
Not only that, because I just don't think Jerry Jones is that kind of guy who's going to change.
Yeah,
you know what
he
I mean?
kind of wants to be in control.
He will be in control.
You don't think he'd even bow to prime time?
No, absolutely not. He won't.
I'm not saying he'll bow, but I think in that job, you have to be more than what McCarthy was. You can't the days of Tom Landry and the low key kind of a coach in Dallas. Jimmy Johnson was not that way. Jimmy Johnson was high profile.
Well, he was hyper
and high strong.
He was yes, and I think that is that type of job. Just because of what it is and who you're working for, I think that's the fit for Deion Sanders.
Janel Klein, did you ever interview Deion Sanders? They call him prime time.
I don't think I have.
When do you leave for the national championship game?
I'm not going. I don't host it anymore.
What?
I know.
I thought you said you were going to New Orleans a week ago.
I am, but for Super Bowl.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. I meant the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The playoffs just started. What am I talking about? Yeah. Okay, I got confused there. Yeah, you're going to the Super Bowl in New Orleans.
Yep.
With C. Willi, Myles, and Nick.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's the plan. Seems like
it was supposed to be a surprise, C. Willi, but we're going to New Orleans.
Man, I know.
That should be a reality show.
Oh, wow. C. Willi, Myles, and I would probably... It would be a battle who goes to bed earliest, I think, probably between the two of us.
True story.
one queen bed.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't mind sharing a rack with old C. Willi. Now, listen to this. Back to Deion Sanders. So his son, Shadur, is all set to be drafted, right? The next NFL. Mm-hmm. Deion Sanders he's threatening to block certain NFL teams from drafting his son if he doesn't approve of the team.
Well,
work for Eli Manning.
That's not unusual, though. That's not unusual.
Work for Eli
no,
Manning.
It's not a first. Yeah. The ones I forget about Eli Manning. The ones that come to mind for me are John Elway.
John Elway.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
If he wasn't such a punk. The Indianapolis Colts would have gotten John Elway.
Right.
Yeah.
And the most infamous one, I think, in the NHL is Eric Lindros.
Yes.
But I think the difference, though, is that in both those cases, they were the number one pick. And the team that had the number one pick is not where they wanted to go. I think in Sanders' case, there's probably more than one team that he doesn't want him to go to. So I don't know how you can control multiple teams. You can maybe the first team.
We'll see what kind of pull Deion has, but I don't see his kid playing for the Tennessee Titans. The Patriots hired Mike Vrabel to be their new head coach. I know what his freaking name is. Randy Shaver, have you been watching this great new reality show starring all-time great former NFL quarterback Cam Newton?
What reality show is that?
Oh, it's called Special Forces. World's Toughest.
I have not. I've seen the previews of it.
See, Willie Myles, you're watching it?
No. I watched the clips of it. I can't watch reality shows, but I do watch the clips.
I watched an episode of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he jumps from the boat onto the helicopter.
Yeah. Cam Newton is the greatest athlete that's ever lived.
Without a doubt.
He is strong as I don't know what.
And fashion game is on point.
And he's so cool. Randy, I bring it up because Randy's never liked Cam Newton, and I don't understand why.
I'm not a Cam Newton fan. No.
So Cam Newton's on this television show where it puts celebrities through military training style competitions. Okay? And Cam Newton had to jump from a speedboat onto a speeding helicopter. He jumps out the boat, hangs on to the skid on the helicopter. It was beautiful watching him do it.
How he pulled himself up. Man. That was just... He's a big man, though. Cam goes about 245.
Yeah.
He's not it's not like he was lifting up 180 pounds, man. He's pulling up, and it was dangling. That chopper was swaying.
Yeah. Josh, I want a T-shirt of him hanging from that friggin'
I bet they make one.
Yeah.
I bet he has
That's
one.
the same show Denise Richards said she ruptured both her breast implants while filming that.
She did.
Special Forces.
So she's been eliminated due to injury?
I'm not sure if she's around or not. But
Randy Shaver, did you hear about the other celebrities that are involved in this program? It's called Special Forces.
Again, I've seen some of the previews. All I recognized was Cam Newton and Denise Richards.
Stephen Baldwin. Yeah.
Okay.
And the rest don't matter.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
They were like the three headliners, to be honest.
Yeah. The Timberwolves beat the Washington Wizards by 14 last night.
Thank goodness.
Oof.
Wow.
Anthony Edwards, 41 points. 20 of them were in the fourth quarter.
A1 from day one.
Yeah, they almost blew a game in Washington, which would have been a disaster last night.
Fourth win in 5 games, third consecutive road victory. Yeah, Edwards kind of pulled that one out of his ass. There are some games where you wish he would share the ball a little bit more. Well, last night, luckily, he was being selfish, scored a lot of points in the fourth. They return home now to play the disgusting Golden State Warriors tomorrow night. And Edwards got fined again, $50,000. I missed this during the Memphis game. I guess he made an obscene gesture towards an official.
2 of them.
What did he do?
He gave the finger with his right arm, and then when he got exhausted with that, he switched to his left arm.
Oh, how did I not see this during the Memphis game?
I was wondering if they didn't show it or what, because, you watch all the games. I'm sure you would have brought that up.
I missed it.
I'm glad you pointed out that he switched hands, because when I first read the headline, it said he gave the double birds, and I'm kind of picturing like a Stone Cold Steve Austin thing. And then I watched the video. Nope, right hand. Oh, this one's getting tired. Left hand now.
It's more like the Jordan dunk. He switched from the right to the left.
And there was a staffer there doing his best to try and, knock that off. But
this is the 5th time this season Edwards has been fined. He's given up $285,000 so far. He likes to get in trouble. This new version of A1 from day one likes to get in trouble with the refs.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't. That team is. It's confusing to me. I've not watched them as much this year. The few games I watched them, it's just. I just don't think they gel very well.
Nope.
Not so far.
Nope.
No. Not so far.
Yeah, I really.
Looking a little bit better lately, but they still have their problems. I'll make this quick. Randy Shaver, Golden Gopher men's basketball lost to Maryland. The women's basketball team's in the top 25 for the first time in a few years. They play, I believe, tonight.
And their best player has been hurt almost for quite a while, Mara Braun. Yeah, I think that's the first time in, 20 years? No, maybe not that long.
In 5-6 years. Who do they play? They play
looks
tonight.
like they play Maryland tonight.
Maryland.
Ooh, they're good, too.
That's right.
Yeah, number 8 against 24.
That's right.
Wow.
Caitlin Clark had been forced to change her appearance in public because of threats from an alleged stalker.
Those threats were terrifying.
Man, that dude
and
is weird.
disgusting. Yeah.
The guy's been caught. That's the good news. 55-year-old guy arrested and charged with stalking and sending threatening is how you say it, messages to Caitlin Clark on Twitter. He was arrested in Indianapolis. That's where she plays basketball. He's from Texas. He's got to go to court now. Mm-hmm. And he's probably going to go to jail for a long time.
I hope so.
His paper trail was next level. Stupid.
Yeah, the things he was saying.
Good Lord.
It's gross.
Very filthy sexual stuff. One of the messages he sent to Caitlin Clark, I've been driving around your house 3 times a day.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
But they got him. The dude said he was in an imaginary relationship with Caitlin Clark.
You ever had one of those, Janelle?
Or maybe someone's had one about you.
Imaginary relationships? I've had imaginary relationships.
Who were you closest to in your imaginary relationship?
Boy, you know who I got really tight with? And when we broke up, it was devastating for both of us. It was Amy Locane.
Oh, is that right?
A lot of folks don't know who that is.
Well, and Dana, yours would be Anna Kendrick?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been dating on and off for a few years now.
Amy Locane. Wow. People have forgotten about her, and I think because she got in some big trouble. Absolutely stunning blonde. She was in the John Depp movie Cry Baby. She was in that.
I saw her in School Ties. I don't remember her from Crybaby.
She was in that brutally stupid movie called Airheads, where the rock band invades a radio station. What else was she in?
I like that movie.
I did too.
Oh, every once in a while I try to bring her up to see if anybody can remember her. My God, she drove me nuts when I was an 18-year-old kid. Look her up, Amy Locane. Look up a picture of her from the early 90s. Just shockingly gorgeous. That was the imaginary relationship I had, Josh, that probably had the most emotional ending.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's tough when those fake relationships end.
That's fun.
A top Chinese basketball player has been suspended. He's been accused of smuggling his girlfriend into his dorm in a suitcase.
Pretty impressive. She was able to.
What?
Yeah.
She was able to kind of fold herself in that thing.
She's a tiny little number. And, he doesn't want to get in trouble for sneaking his lady into the dorm after hours. So they put her in a suitcase. Now, there are some other sides of the story saying none of this happened. This is all social media hype. I like to believe that it happened. They put her in a suitcase so he could carry her up to his room and no one would know what the hell was going on.
That's fun.
They make big suitcases now.
And it was a big suitcase.
You don't really need a big suitcase for this guy.
Little.
She's little in the middle. Randy Shaver, you finished that line from the song. You go ahead. Little in the middle, but...
I think I even know this. She got much back.
That's right. Randy, why don't you like to quote Sir Mix-a-Lot on the program?
It's kind of weird, actually.
Yeah, I just,
Saves it for home.
some days I feel it, some days I don't.
Do you guys
not
have
a
beef?
faker.
You and Mr. Mix-a-Lot?
Word is the Russian kid could be back tomorrow night for the Pigs game at home against Edmonton. He's missed the last 8 with that good old lower body injury, and they got a lot of other problems in that department with the Faber and the Brodeen and this guy and the next guy. They placed a couple of forwards on waivers, which is a sign that maybe some of these regulars are getting healthy. They placed a couple of forwards on waivers, one of them named Ben Jones, the other one Devin Shore. This, speaking of the early 90s, the son of Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore.
Is that right?
Do they call him Shoresy, do you think?
I would.
I'm not answering that question. But I would bet it's 100% that they call him Shoresy. But he's the son of Pauly Shore. I just want folks to look that up. We're about cooked here, Randy Shaver, if this matters at all to you. I already saw an article naming Twins manager Rocco Baldelli as one of a few skippers, quote, on the hot seat heading into this next big league baseball season. That's not going to surprise anybody.
I think that's fair.
That's not going to surprise anybody.
I mean,
love
the only thing I'll say in his defense is that if the front office and the ownership are not going to spend money to improve the baseball team, there's really not a lot. I mean, there are things the skipper can do to help a team win, but it all boils down to talent. And if the ownership and the front office are not going to invest, it makes it tough to do your job. So.
Amy Locane was a member of the cast of the first year of Melrose Place. Does that do anything for you, Janelle? Did you watch Melrose Place?
I remember that show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who you're talking about, though.
No,
I thought your big crush was Tara Reid. So I've totally been thrown off.
I've got a number of them, Janelle, and like I said, I just like to throw Amy Locane in there once in a while.
Yeah.
I'd like to mention her more often, but I know so many folks are just unfamiliar or have forgotten all about her.
I'm going to go ahead and Google her. But
you go ahead and do that.
Oh, okay.
Breathtaking, isn't she?
Yes, she's really pretty.
My damn. She was also in a movie. Dana, were you a fan of the, what's that band again that was always on vacation, Josh?
Beastie Boys?
The Beastie Boys. They were always on vacation. Were you a fan of that outfit?
Beastie Boys?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the guys in the Beastie Boys, I want to say his name was Adam something.
Adam Yauch?
Yeah, what was his name in the band?
MCA.
Ah, Christ, that's not him. Give me all the members of the Beastie Boys.
There's Ad Rock, Adam Horovitz.
That's the guy, Adam Horovitz. Adam Horovitz was in a... Do you know this already? Can you finish this sentence? You don't?
No, I don't.
Adam Horovitz in the late 80s, the guy from the Beastie Boys, was in an underground movie called, I think it was called Lost Angels, where he's like this, teenage kid who gets in trouble in California, and his love interest in the movie is Amy Locane. That's where I first fell in love with her. So for you Beastie Boys fans who maybe have never, check it out. And he's pretty good in the movie, that Lalovich, what'd you say his name was? Horovitz. He's pretty good in the movie.
Yeah, he's been in a few other movies.
But did you know about Lost Angels?
I did not know about
You're
Lost
welcome.
Thank you.
And you get to see Amy Locane at her finest in that movie.
I had one poster in my room of one woman ever. And that was...
I can't wait to hear who it was.
Jane Kennedy.
Oh, Lord.
That's the only poster that has ever hung on my wall.
Really?
Ever.
So you were a teenage kid.
Oh, yeah. That was... When I used to go in my room, I felt like I was coming home to her. Because she was, as I walked in the room, it was right. That's the first thing I saw was her poster.
The NFL Today.
Striking.
Yeah.
Strikingly hot.
Exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely.
She was just...
Did you have any babes on your wall, Cubby? Did your mother and father allow that?
So I was going to mention my parents were very, very, very conservative, very strict. So I shared a room with my brother and my cousin. Thanks, Mom and Dad. And on my brother's side of the room, he had the Janet Jackson poster where her husband's holding her boobs from behind.
Sure.
She's topless.
Sure.
And I couldn't figure out how they allowed that. They wouldn't let me have a Poison open up and say, tapestry with the devil tongue sticking out. But my brother got a half-naked Janet Jackson, and we never once saw her half-naked again after that poster.
Maybe your folks just didn't like the Sunset Strip bands.
Could be.
They were more into the industrial metal or something. So your brother had a topless woman basically on his wall, but your parents would not allow you to have... Why?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's bizarre. The devil imagery maybe was too much.
A popular one when I was a kid, now I never had it, but a popular one was Heather Thomas or Heather Locklear. They both, They both came out with their own poster right around the same time, mid-'80s. Big Phil, my bro Big Phil had Heather Thomas on his wall. And I had another poster route I was going to take, and I've lost it.
So Farrah Fawcett was the most popular one back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, Jane Kennedy one I got was from Senior Bowl. I had a signed poster. She signed my poster.
So you met her in person?
Yeah, down in Mobile, Ladd Stadium.
Were you just a mumbling moron in her presence?
No, man, I was just that little wide-eyed kid that was like, Miss Kennedy.
Yeah. Janelle,
did you ever my poster?
Do you have any hunks on the wall growing up?
Nope.
Burt Reynolds?
Like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys or something?
That's crazy to me. No.
Dom DeLuise.
Taylor Thomas?
Yeah.
Tom DeLuise.
Well, I mean, like Paul Newman, Robert Redford, Burt Reynolds.
You had to have
Don
one. Come
Rickles.
on.
Robert Stack.
I'm going to call you a liar.
Who are these people?
Tom Selleck.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Selleck.
Who else? John Schneider from Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, I would have had a poster.
A lot of girls I knew loved to put John Schneider on their wall, standing next to the General Lee. He had a big wad in his pants. He must have put a pair of socks in his pants.
I've seen that poster before.
He had a pair of socks in his pants.
You say you know Donny Osmond? Nothing?
Donnie.
Donny Osmond.
No
what was the kid from TV? The Brady kid from TV?
Greg, Barry Williams.
Oh, yeah.
None of them?
No posters.
I can't believe he didn't have Donny Osmond.
Janelle, we're going to get you some posters, okay? We're going to redecorate your place.
Michael Jackson?
Please let it be Dom DeLuise.
Hey, Nick, I think you've misread Janelle. She had nothing but basketball posters on.
Yeah, Randy.
Now,
Karl Malone and Isaiah Thomas and whatnot. Yeah.
Larry Bird.
Yeah.
I mentioned that
handsome guy.
After that Janet Jackson half-naked poster, we've never seen her half-naked again. People are saying something about a Super Bowl I need to look up.
No, that's in a movie.
Is that what it is?
It's in a movie.
They're messing with me, right?
It's a Saturday Night Live
It's an Adam Horovitz movie from the late 80s.
You got to bring that sarcasm horn back.
Here it is. We got to go. We ran over time because we're talking about hot people hanging on our walls. Thanks, Randy. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See ya.
See Willie and Janelle shall return here in a few minutes.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Hey there, I'm Paula Pan, host of the Afford Anything podcast. I help people make the smartest money decisions possible.
How should that money get invested? Why value? Why not growth? We're going to answer all of these questions. All of them? All of them!
From investing strategies
And the thing about tariffs.
to economic trends and beyond.
In one episode.
In one episode. Can you believe it?
I gotta ask for a raise.
What's 5% of zero?
Oh, crap.
Afford Anything. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
KARE 11's Janel Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
We have returned 8:34 already here on the damn 93X Half-Assed Morning Show with two very talented guests in studio, Janel Klein and Willi Myles. Always wonderful to have their company. Speaking of talent. Earlier on, we fired up a conversation, and we received many, many, many text messages from our glorious listeners. The subject, what are you unreasonably good at? Now, that's a hell of a statement. We made mention of this earlier. That's a hell of a statement to say you're unreasonably good at anything. But everybody's great at something. We thought maybe to help us forget how bad the Vikings became in the last 2 weeks of the season, let's talk about how great we are. What are you unreasonably
hell of a segue
good at? Now, Janel and Willi Myles, we'd love to hear your answers. Would you like us to give you some time? Should we maybe explore some of the messages we received from our listeners before you answer?
Yes, we need some inspiration.
Okay, some inspiration. Josh, you have anything over there from our proud listening audience on what they're unreasonably good at?
Yeah, I thought this was funny. This person says they're quite good at romanticizing their skill sets from 2008.
Going back and reminiscing.
Yeah, I used to be real good at this. I used to do that.
Almost 2 decades ago.
Embellishing the glory days a little bit.
When you hit a certain age, it's about all you got.
Yeah, I was really good at this back in the day. Do I make you randy? Jesus said, I'm unreasonably good at picking things up with my foot. My wife's good at that, too. She's got a lot of unreasonably weird talents.
I'd love to hear more about your wife's unreasonably weird talents in just a second, but I have tried to pick things up with my feet, and something always gets in the way. Can anyone answer the question? Maybe you've had the same experience.
Bunion or
terrible cramp.
Oh, I've had that happen.
And then I got to roll around on the floor like I've just been hit by a car because I have a foot. What are some of the things your wife has unique talents? What else is in the mix there?
What's anything with numbers? She can remember numbers and dates, things like that.
Birth dates,
everything, and any game show. Outside of like a Jeopardy or something like that, she dominates that.
She's very good at board games and game shows.
Family Feud.
Right?
Doesn't she whoop your ass in Uno?
You don't have to phrase it that way, but if you're asking if she beats me all the time, yes, the answer is to that. By that, I mean beats me in any type of cards, anything. She wins constantly to the point where it's frustrating to the family.
She's unreasonably good at games.
Yeah, there's like a lot of little things that she's pretty good at.
Off air, I'd love to hear what she sucks at. You're probably not.
Organization.
Okay.
That's one.
Okay.
She kind of. Her organization, let's say you need to get a Q-tip or something. It's just throw a whole bunch of stuff in places that makes no sense. That she's terrible at organization. That's pretty bad. This person said, I'm unreasonably good at taking knots out of almost anything.
Oh, wow. I'd love to have that.
Skill.
Wife's good at that, too. Foundry Rat Jesus said, I'm unreasonably good at meowing.
Oh.
Interesting.
Janelle, it seems like something you'd like.
Wobble?
Yeah, me and Janelle are pretty good at that.
He said he can have a full conversation with his cat, even though neither of them know what they're talking about.
That's exactly like me, too.
I'd like to look in on that some night.
Still a baby, had a baby. Jesus said, I'm good at effing things up in life and then laughing through the pain. Sure.
Oh, man.
That's a skill set. I'm unreasonably good at staying calm in stressful situations, says Barsaw Jesus. He said, not super exciting, but helpful. This one I thought was funny from middle school counselor lady Jesus. Oversharing. Do you want to know about my last colonoscopy? I'll tell you in detail.
I'll show you the video.
Want to know what I'm thinking about at any point in time? I'm going to tell you without you even asking. Hick Chick Jesus is good at having mood swings. My 4 sons, Jesus, I'm unreasonably good at microwaving foods. I can look at leftovers and estimate the perfect amount of time it needs to cook.
That is a great skill to have.
I love to run that microwave. I do.
Goosetown Jesus said, I'm unreasonably good at getting passed up for promotions after 20 years on the job.
Oh, that hurts.
That sounds personal.
Might be time to move on.
Sounds like he's sending a message.
Sounds like he works here. March Madness Jesus is a big Star Wars guy and has the most knowledge in Carver County as Star Wars.
All right. See, and Star Wars fans take that kind of thing really
Oh, yeah.
Very serious.
If you're going to say that, you must be pretty good.
You will be challenged. If you say that out loud around another Star Wars fan, they will find a deep, dark question that, they'll go back to the comic books or things.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's like Kiss fans are very similar, really, to Star Wars fans. If you say, I know a thing or two about Kiss, you will be challenged.
Yeah.
Medical device Jesus is unreasonably good at winning imaginary arguments while all alone. Sure. We've known people that have gotten themselves in trouble for they pre-argue and then don't listen to the conversation they had that they pre-argued about and assume it's going to go in the way they imagined. We talk about it all the time. We worked with a guy who wanted to ask for a day off. And then he's like, hey, do you guys mind if I take this day off? And we're like, no, go ahead. And he started yelling at us because he assumed we were going to say no.
He remember that.
He was enraged.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you don't think family's important and all this stuff? And he just went off on us. We're like, we said go ahead.
We said,
yeah, you guys said I could take that off.
He was over-prepared and over-amped for the situation.
That's what he said. He's like, oh, I kind of had a pre-argument and assumed you'd say no.
I wanted to test it out.
I worked really hard on it. Can I just deliver it to you guys?
Yeah, go ahead. Just let us have it.
All right, now that we've warmed you up to the whole spiel. Again, the subject is, what are you unreasonably good at? It could be any damn thing. Janel Klein, do you want to start? What are you unreasonably good at? And I know this is not quite your wheelhouse. You love self-deprecation and things like that. You always talk about how you're this big oaf of a person who has no skill. Everybody's good at something.
I mean, that's not being humble. That's true.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
Janelle,
really not.
Stand up. Love yourself.
Okay, this is the only thing I can think of, but I don't know if I'm good at it anymore. But when I was growing up, my friends had a Miss Pac-Man machine at their house.
Okay.
And so everyone in our neighborhood was really good at it. Now, I haven't tried it in a long time. But just over the weekend, I was with some old friends from my old neighborhood, and we walked into a bar, and there was a Miss Pac-Man machine. We thought about doing it. We never did. I kind of wish we had all tried it to see if we still had it.
So all of your friends were very good because of the time you spent at this
all
house.
We did was just like...
But would you say that you were the best of the bunch?
No, God, no.
Okay.
But I would say above average just because... That's all we did.
Well, that is a hell of a skill, really. I've tried Pac-Man over the years, of course, because it was wildly popular when I was a kid. I was never any good at it.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
Good for you, Janelle.
It's hard to find one now.
I know that this is going to be super cheesy, but I think that you're unreasonably good at making people feel like they matter. I've had a lot of people say that when they have conversations with you, you actually seem like you care about what they're saying, no matter who it is.
That is very true, Ashley.
How do you pull off that act?
Because we've seen you talk to people that don't matter at all. They don't deserve your, much less anyone else's attention, but you're...
I am sitting right here.
Oh, I didn't see you behind the monitor. This is very embarrassing for me.
You know what, Ashley? Ashley, you are correct, though. I noticed that about Janel from the get-go years ago. When you talk to someone, you engage with them in a way that makes them comfortable and makes them feel welcome. That is absolutely true.
I think you're genuinely interested in people, way more so than you are talking about yourself, which is rare.
I don't want to talk about myself. So let's never bring up this Pac-Man thing again.
See Willi Myles'
But
turn
Ashley,
now.
thank you. That's so nice.
Absolutely.
You're a skilled man.
Yeah.
But what are you unreasonably good at?
There's a couple of things, man. But I think the one thing that if you would ask my wife, she would tell you cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and for me too, I honest to God, for a person who didn't go to culinary school, I am dangerously good in my kitchen.
I'm jealous.
So you'd be comfortable if all of us came over to your place for dinner, you'd knock our socks off.
I would knock your socks off. I could cook. I mean, and I'm not like a one-trick pony. It's not like just spaghetti.
Right.
Look, I can make practically anything, man.
Where did you learn this? Where did this come from?
Just when you're in the entertainment industry and you travel a lot and you're home. When you're home, you're home.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go out. You've eaten out so much. You don't want to eat. You sit around and you just figure out, I want to make something and I want to make. And when my wife comes home, I want to have a dish that is going to blow her socks off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that's awesome.
You eat at restaurants and you microwave a lot of foods on the road. When you're home, you want to make it.
You want to cook.
Yeah, you want to make it count.
So I eat at a lot of restaurants when I'm traveling. And the thing about me is, and I always admit this, I am the most bougie person in the world. I want to eat a good meal. I don't want to just eat, fried food all the time. So I'll go to a really nice restaurant. I'll go, I can make this at home.
Mm-hmm.
I can make this at home. And then I'll come up with my own recipe. I got so many pots and dishes at home, like when I'm making stuff, and my wife doesn't even come in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. I got a chef jacket, dude.
I do too.
With my name on it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to cook? Do you have like an absolute favorite, C. Willi?
No. One of the few things that I cook a lot that my wife really, really loves is I'll make this. She likes halibut.
Oh.
And I make risotto from scratch, and I make, like asparagus, and I'll make this halibut for her, pan-seared halibut.
Mm-hmm.
But it's how I season it and everything. So I have like my own little special pans for my fish. I have a pan for steak. I have a pan for, I have a grill. I have a flat grill. I have everything. Like when I'm cooking outside, I have a setup that looks like it's from a cooking show.
Yeah, I want to learn how to do that.
Or risotto.
So
wow.
if you go to my
Impressive.
Instagram page and go back a few months, for the summertime, I cook all the time. I have tons of photos.
We have been talking about with our guests, C. Willi Myles and Janel Klein, here on the 93X Half-Fast Morning Show. We've been talking about how everyone has at least one thing they're great at.
Right.
What are we unreasonably good at? Now, C. Willi Myles told us one thing. He says he can cook his ass off. You said there were two things that you're unreasonably good at. Give us the other.
When I just found this out lately, I already knew I was decent at it, but I just couldn't figure out why I was so good at it. So, have you guys ever went to have IQ tests done?
No.
We did that once for the program, didn't we? Many, many years ago, I thought.
Is your IQ off the charts?
No.
Oh.
She's average. She's a 107.
Oh.
And here's the deal. I looked that up, and it says that you basically are good at puzzles.
Oh.
Like figuring like words. Like so my wife, like I don't play games. Like I don't play any games like on my phone. My wife plays Scrabble, all this other stuff, and she plays Wordle.
Wordle.
Oh, I love Wordle.
And I've made I will never play Wordle. I've never downloaded. I've never played the whole game. But my wife will text me, and when I tell you she texts me, I have a running line. She'll be to like 4, or she'll be at number 3, and so you only get 6 chances.
I know this game. I've seen it from my wife. Yeah.
Right. And she texts it to me, and she'll go help. and I'll just text her back the actual word. And she'll go, how do you know that?
You nail it every time.
Every time. She says she said, you're like 95%. and I'm like, that's my IQ. That's really, like, I'm not. And I looked it up and I was like, so puzzles, I said, so like I should go on Jeopardy? And it went, no, just puzzles.
Oh.
Like you not, like I don't know like genius stuff.
Trivia maybe isn't, but words. Yeah, like I'm really good at crossword puzzles. I'm really good at putting together pieces of the puzzle. Okay.
I imagine you'd be really good at Sudoku then.
Yeah. Right.
Numbers, lingo.
Right.
Lingo.
Right. If my mom, like my mother-in-law plays these games and she'll be looking for a word. There's another game they play now and I don't even know. It just makes funny noise and it's like, woo, woo, woo. and I'll be like, well, this is a word. That's a word. This is a word. And she'll be like, I see words.
Okay, well, why don't you enter your name into a game show, a word-based game show?
No, because it doesn't work like that, you know.
What about, what's that game where you try to fit?
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah,
Wheel of Fortune.
Is that where they try to
No,
figure out?
because them are blank letters. Like I need to see.
But there's a clue. It says
I need to see. They need to be in front of me.
It says like event, and then you guess.
I
gangbang.
Yeah, that's what they said. That's what
a G at the beginning and a G at the end, and you say gangbang.
Wheel of Fortune after dark.
We don't say gangbang. It's train.
And they hand you $5,000 for guessing gangbang.
I think we had a listener text in earlier that said they were good at that kind of stuff too. See, Willie Myles, like you can like unjumble words.
Exactly.
Good for you.
So you see letters, and if in this one game Wordle. There's the words the letters you can't use, so you don't look at those. You only look at the ones you can, and you make it the word. And I always ask my wife, I'm like, how do you not see that? She's because I don't have a 107 IQ.
Guy's brilliant.
She's got hers higher than mine.
He's as brilliant as we've all known him to be. Willie Myles.
No, I'm not.
I think to be that funny, you have to be pretty brilliant.
I would agree with Josh. Here are some highlights from the text messages we received from our wonderful listening audience, and then we got to get the hell out of the way. Here's some of the things that our listeners are unreasonably good at. Guessing accents.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I want to think about that.
You hear someone with a little bit of this or that twang in their voice, and you can guess where the hell they're from. Now, if you make a mistake, I bet they're insulted.
Oh, I've had that happen.
You have?
Yeah, when one of the work trips we went on, I asked a woman if she was from Australia, because I thought, wow, that's a pretty thick Australian accent, but she's from New Zealand.
They don't like that.
Oh, no, not at all. I had no idea that they got so offended. It was close enough to me, and I learned a lot that day.
They are at war.
So then I
because
asked
of
her,
that incident.
I tried to change the subject, and so I had asked her, well, how far along are you? And she said, no, I'm not even pregnant.
Oh, my God.
Damn, Josh.
It got even worse.
Yeah, you just go home for the day and try again the next morning.
Some of you might.
And then I told her she should smile more, because she was really
that's true.
bringing all of us down.
I was there when Josh said it. He said, hey, babe. Smile for me just once.
You're so much prettier when you smile.
Give me a smile.
You just woke up that morning and chose violence. Good Lord.
She tried to drown me.
Here's more from our listeners.
Now, only the first thing happened. I did offend her with the wrong accent. I felt terrible.
Maybe this won't surprise you, but one of our listeners is unreasonably good at picking locks.
Oh, that's great.
Hello.
It's a cool skill to have.
It's a handy skill.
One of our listeners says, when it comes to cribbage, I am a god.
I've never actually played cribbage.
Me either.
I can't figure it out.
We've been talking about cribbage on and off, it seems, the last couple of weeks. I already mentioned
cribbage.
They loved it.
My limited arithmetic skills keeps me from playing the game. I'll destroy anyone in GoldenEye on N64, says a listener. I'm at the Warrior's Garden taking on all challengers. I don't know what that means.
Lord.
I'm good at tying baits on the fishing line, but Josh wants to know, will you take the fish off the hook?
Yeah, it's my wife's job. She's got to bait it and then take the fish off.
He doesn't like to take the fish off the hook.
But you're good at clean the fish, though, right, Josh?
Pardon me now?
I'm unreasonably good at finger skateboarding, says a 38-year-old listener. Finger skateboarding.
Oh, boy, I used to love, in middle school, though, that was giant. In
Tech decks, dude.
You had that one. Tech decks?
Oh, they were so cool.
They're like little skateboards, like this big, like think of like a Matchbox car.
Okay.
And you would just do tricks with your fingers.
Like a little kickflip with your fingers.
I never heard of that.
I had friends that were absolutely amazing at it. I was like, how do you do that?
And they couldn't skateboard in the real thing, though, I'm guessing.
Yep.
I've never seen finger skateboarding.
It was big in the suburbs in 1986 for an hour and a half.
Yeah, this was, for me, it was like 87 to 89. We were all into it.
One of our listeners is a terrific reverse pickpocketer. They will plant items on people without them knowing. A reverse pickpocket. I'm terrific at pocket billiards. I placed high and won a ton of money in a huge 9-ball tournament last Saturday. That's wonderful. Congratulations, Barron County welder. Jesus, remind me never to play a game of billiards against you. Now, this is a terrific skill. Talking about what are you unreasonably good at? And here are some texts from our listeners. That's where we're at right now. This is an amazing skill. Listener says, I'm unreasonably good at saying stuff so funny that then HR wants to hear it too.
They heard how funny it was.
I'm great at texting and driving, says a listener. God, I hope
Don't
you
do
are.
that.
Yeah, because you're going to end up getting in a car wreck. And finally, one of our listeners says, I'm unreasonably good at naming what movie a song came from, like a soundtrack.
Right.
That's a good skill to have.
I wish we could still mess around with music on this show and we didn't have that problem with licensing or whatever, because I'd love to play some movie songs and see if we can guess them. Josh, sing us a popular movie song and we'll see who can name the movie first. And it can't be friggin' Danger Zone.
That was the first thing that popped in my head.
It can't be Danger Zone.
Now I've
Dirty Dancing.
Yep, nailed it.
Never saw it, but I knew that it was from the movie. Dirty Dancing, I've had the time of my life.
This one's going to be difficult.
And that was the guy from the Righteous Brothers and Jennifer Warren or something like that. Okay, go ahead with another one.
Everybody cut loose.
Footloose.
How'd you know? How'd you get that one?
I knew it would be another Kenny Loggins song.
Well, he's the king.
You can't get enough Kenny Loggins.
How about this one? You'll never get this. Send me an angel right now. The movie Rad, Crew Jones, they're dancing on their bikes.
I should have known it was Rad.
They're dancing on their bikes.
Never saw it.
Oh, man. I think that and Spaceballs. I've seen those more than any other movie.
Never saw it.
What?
No, I never went through Spaceballs.
Boy, I wonder if back in the day you would have loved that. Maybe now it's too silly.
I don't know why. See, Willie, I don't know why. I have no reason.
They were epic back in their day.
I just never got around to Spaceballs. I should have known it was going to be Rad. Okay.
Some people are texting in Rad. That's right.
Send me an angel. I remember the song. I do.
Did you ever see the scene where they're dancing?
No.
With their bicycles?
No.
Yeah, that was something else.
I never effing got around to it. Thank you so much, Janel Klein.
Thanks, you guys.
And see Willie Myles.
Thank you very much. It was a happy New Year to everybody. This is my first
You
time
too.
back this year.
Both of you made our morning. You always
sure
do.
did.
You guys are awesome.
Definitely did. You made a bunch of nobodies feel like somebody, Janelle. Just like you always do. By the way, congratulations. How far along are you?
Josh, before we go, can I sing a song from a... It's not from a movie, but it's from a television show.
Yeah.
And you guys can guess the television show. You're going to guess right. Some of you already know. I'm just going to sing it. Just going to sing. I don't want to wait.
Oh, Dawson's Creek. I think you love that song. Yeah.
I don't want to wait.
All right. That's too close to Paula Cole. We might need to pull that from the podcast for licensing issues. Sounds too similar.
Congratulations to future Mrs. Late to the Party Jesus. She got promoted to fiance last week. That's great news. And we got a new rich buddy, Mr. Mechanic Jesus. He quit his job 2 weeks ago, but he's back and he got a big raise. So good luck in your new foreman position, Mr. Mechanic Jesus.
Bold move.
Yeah, no doubt. It worked out for him. Retired Army Air Defense Jesus texting a shout out to his wife, getting her new Jesus name. Half-ass listens to the Half-ass Morning Show Jesus. So thank you for listening sometimes. Happy early birthday to Sushi Slinger Jesus. Text himself an early birthday because he said he's a podcast listener and he wants to surprise himself when he listens to today's episode tomorrow. Ultimate Frisbee Jesus wishing safe travels to Papaya Jelly Jesus, and a happy birthday to Top Rope BBQ Jesus, and happy 50th to School Maintenance Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor. Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.